Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. We've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharpe. Good morning.
Hi, Jenny. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm better than Shannon Sharpe.
Why you better? Whoa!
His nightmare continues. He has to talk about Tom Brady for 2 more weeks. I'm so sorry for you.
Hey,
I feel for you. I hate it for you.
Skip, actually.
I suffer for you. I cringe for you. Every morning when I wake up, the first thing I think of is poor Shannon.
Actually, we're going to talk about his offensive line, but from the way they're playing, we're going to be talking about him for another 5-6 years. Hey, how you doing, Jenny?
I'm great.
Old pantsuit Jenny over there. Looks nice today. You look nice, Jenny.
Really comfy.
More than I can say for someone.
Well, I think I look pretty good.
You look great. I like the colors.
Let you tell
Really
me.
well done. Really well done. On that note, a lot to get to today. Apparently not everyone is a fan of Shannon's guy, Walk-a-to-him Wentz.
What?
Not everyone. We're going to tell you about that. And then will Skip admit that Tom Brady actually does have a lot of help. So with that being said, let's start with the Patriots. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are set to appear in their 9th Super Bowl together. Speculation of tension between the two has been in the news for years, but that is the complete opposite of a report that the two exchanged, quote, love yas after Sunday's AFC Championship game. Different to say love ya, not love you, guys. Keep that in mind.
That is true.
Yesterday, Brady was asked about their relationship and praised his coach. Let's take a listen.
We've always gotten along great. We've worked together for 19 years. So, we've been had the same goals in mind for 19 years. And he's been just a great, great mentor in my life, a great coach. He's taught me, more than, anyone ever could about the game of football. I've always just loved playing here and playing for him. He's the greatest coach of all time, and we just had some incredible moments together.
Shannon, do you believe Brady?
No. It's easy to say, Skip, in a moment like that, you had just won the AFC Championship game, probably one of your signature wins throughout all the playoff games that you've had. I think they're up at, 39 now, Skip? This was probably one of the more signature wins that you've had in a very, very long time. And you've had some good playoff wins. So I didn't expect them to say, in that moment, man, I hate you. I hate you too. Things are really good. People normally act accordingly. But we know through that Seth Wickersham article that was published about a year and a half ago, Skip,
on ESPN,
that things were not very good.
Now,
Skip, I don't know about you, Skip, but anytime I buy something, I always get a receipt, especially if it's something that I might return, because I want them to know that, hey, I did purchase it from you on this date, and I don't no longer want this item. I want to return it and get my money back. And when people say certain things, Skip, I always keep the receipts. There was a Jim Gray interview that Tom Brady did. Tom Brady said Bill is not the easiest guy to play for. I think all his players will attest to that. When asked if he feels appreciated, I plead the fifth.
Thank you.
I think everybody in general would want to be appreciated more at work and in their professional life. Now, we know he's not talking about Mr. Kraft because he has a very special relationship with Mr. Bob Kraft. Mr. Kraft treats him as if he's his son. It's hard for me to believe that he loves Jonathan Kraft, who is probably the more prominent of all the sons that we see sit right next to him in the booth, in the box, Skip, all the time. If he holds him in any higher regard than he holds Tom Brady.
I'm with you on that.
Tom Brady's mom was going through what she was going through. Mr. Kraft gave her a ring that only the players and coaches gave. So we know Tom Brady knows Mr. Kraft appreciates him and loves him.
Sure.
I'm not so sure he feels that way because we know now it's been reported that Tom does not understand why he does not have a better relationship with Coach Belichick. So now in this moment of bliss.
It was bliss, man.
They go into another Super Bowl the 9th time.
It's euphoria.
Yes.
You felt this feeling before. There's nothing quite like that feeling, especially to win on the road.
On the road.
So
I wasn't expecting him to say in that moment, Skip, one of my crowning achievements, man, you make me sick. Get away from me. No, you suppress whatever it is. Now, maybe it was not, I think, it might have gotten to that level with this Jimmy Garoppolo situation. But prior to that, Skip, maybe it wasn't as bad. Maybe that it wasn't like, I'm not speaking to you this morning, you don't speak to me. But the relationship that Coach Belichick and Tom has is not unique. There have been a lot of great quarterback head coach combinations that's won a lot, didn't have the closest relationship, and that's okay. Coaches understand that no matter how close you get to a player or how great a player is, there will come a time, Skip. That's why in the military they don't have, a subordinate fooling around with a higher up, because they're going to be tough decisions that need to be made. Coach Belichick and other great coaches also understand there's going to come a time I'm going to have to make a very, very tough decision. And the closer I am with you, the harder that decision will be. So let's keep everything in perspective. I'm the coach, you're the player, and we're going to work accordingly. Now, does Tom Brady get privileges that probably other guys don't get? Probably so. They're subtle. The great thing about Tom, he doesn't take advantage of that, and I think that's where the great leadership in his behalf comes in at, Skip, is that you have a certain cachet, certain privileges, but you don't embark upon those things. But for Tom to say they've always had a great relationship, I think Tom is being very disingenuous. I thought this was a very good moment. They're winning on the field after the game. Everybody's happy, euphoric, and he says, man, I love you. I love you too. Whatever.
I'm with you on whatever. I'm with Jenny on what she prefaced all this with, because there are different ways to say I love you. And I always tell Ernestine, like, she was mad at me Sunday night, and when I went to bed, I got a love you. And if you just get a love you, it's like,
whoa, what is that?
Love you.
What is that?
Well, she got mad at me. I was watching the Brady game, and she knocked on my door. I'm in my office.
Whoa, she takes precedent over Brady.
Guess what happened when she knocked on the door?
I
Guess
know
what happened? Exactly at that moment. I am not exaggerating.
You snapped.
But guess what happened at that seminal moment? He threw it to Reggie Ragland.
You are not putting that on
He threw it to Reggie Ragland. It was. And I said, how could you do this to me? And she had like a silly question about nothing. She knocked on my door and she said, do you? I said, wait. And then I look up at the TV and he throws it right to Reggie Ragland. I fell on the floor. That was the end of that.
You better make up for it.
She's not speaking to me right now, but it's okay. But I got to love you.
It's okay.
Okay, but there's a huge difference between love you, man, and I love you. Because I love you is I love you, right? So this was uttered on both behalves through gritted teeth to me, because they have been at each other's throats quietly all the way along. But when it's time to work, when Tom says we've always gotten along, he's talking about in the football context.
Because work relationship.
Just working relationship. Has there ever been a better soldier quarterback than Tom Brady? Seriously, there's never been a less of a diva at quarterback in the football context than this guy. Has there ever been a better quarterback teammate than Tom Brady? We hear it from James Harrison, our guy. Nobody has more edge to him than James Harrison. Nobody wants to fight for the truth more than James Harrison. He will tell you exactly what he thinks. Right to your face. And if you don't like it, he'll just throw down right there, right? And so what did he tell us about going in that locker room late last year?
So he watched it. He wanted to see if it was for real.
Yeah, and he was skeptical about it, and he watched him for whatever it was, a week or two, and he finally just went up to him and he said, man, I got to give it up to you. You are 100% real, right? Okay, so that's who this guy is. And when he goes, he was taught by his father, Tom Sr., you know, what you listen to your you obey what your coach tells you. And when you're in the coach quarterback confines in the locker room or in the meeting room, you do what you're told to do. And he does that. I don't think do you think they've ever clashed in a football context? Do you think he's ever called him out or challenged him? I don't think so. No. Okay, so have they always, quote unquote, gotten along? Yes. But what did Seth Wickersham report? I thought I was amusing Bill Belichick yesterday on his radio show. He was responding to all this. Called it, I'm not going to respond to a bunch of gossip. And he said, I never talked to the guy, meaning Seth Wickersham. Well, Seth Wickersham, I'm going to defend ESPN here. He talked to a whole lot of people for this article, a lot of friends of Belichick, according to Seth Wickersham, and I thought it had the ring of truth throughout it. And remember, the bottom line was he reported that Robert Kraft ordered Bill Belichick to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. That's the flashpoint of the whole article, right? That was at the trade deadline going back a year ago, right? And he did. And then there were further reports that Bill stayed in contact with Jimmy Garoppolo via text to text him congratulations, good job, whatever. which I'm sure didn't sit all that well with Tom Brady.
Considering that I've been your quarterback for all these years, you never probably sent me a text.
Probably haven't. And I've told you before, I know 2 close friends of Tom Brady's, and they have told me all along, this has gone on for 10 years that they've told me, Tom has always been amused but perplexed by the fact that Bill has never wanted to socialize with him for 1 second of one off season. They were paired together in the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, you know, so they played golf together not by choice but by pairing.
Right.
But in New England, in the neighborhood, you know, they've never played golf because Bill has never asked Tom to play golf, and they both play a lot of off-season golf. Right. So would you think the quarterback or the coach would get together one way or the other, one side or the other? Nope, never happened. So he's always been like, why is this? Well, it's to your point. It's because the coach wants to keep arm's length so that if he ever has to tell the quarterback it's time to go home, you know, you can tell him. Yeah. You know, they don't get too close, right?
It's a lot easier, Skip, when you don't have that type of relationship.
Right.
Once that relationships get closer, it's harder and harder for you to separate it and push away.
Okay. So I love this line also on Bill Belichick's radio show when he was pushed about this little quick, the embrace took like a half second, right? It's just like a quick hug, and it's, listen, Tom Brady, I always say, he can be a little nerdy, he can be a little corny, he can get a little lame on Facebook, and in this case, it's complete, he's like a little kid on Christmas morning. He's screaming, great effing game, he's just screaming, he hugged Josh McDaniels, and the second guy he hugs is Bill Belichick.
Right.
Well, he would have hugged Jenny if she were there. He would have hugged you if you were there. And he doesn't even like you.
Maybe not me.
I think he would have. And then he would have thought, what am I doing?
He probably would have dapped me up.
He might have dapped you up.
Good job.
But he's just hugging everybody. He's like out of his mind. He's like a little kid.
Yes.
This is why he's still playing football. That's why. And what did he scream to Belichick? Would we have it any other way? Well, guess what? You can also say that's a little touche to Belichick because Tom Brady had just canceled the blunder of the Miami Miracle, right? He had just gone to Kansas City and shut up the crowd in overtime. He had just driven them, 75 yards in 13 plays. He had just, remember, this had just happened. He had just completed 3 straight 3rd and 10s. That's impossible to score a touchdown to keep the ball completely away from Patrick Mahomes in overtime. So he kept it away from him 44 minutes to 21 minutes for the whole game. But in overtime, and this is not fair, Patrick Mahomes doesn't even get to touch the football.
Nope.
Well, the only way you're going to beat Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City is if you keep Bill Belichick's defense mostly on the sidelines. Did he not do that?
Yep.
Can you do any better than 44 minutes to 21? I don't think you can do any better than that because that took 13 of 19 third down conversions.
Right.
9 of them via the pass. So I don't think Tom Brady can play much better, except for the Reggie Ragland blunder where he just got fooled. But other than that, I don't know if you can play a much better quarterback game. So in a way, you could even argue he's kind of sticking it back to the quarterback because guess what? And again, the Seth Wickersham report ended with that Bill Belichick, according to friends, was furious and demoralized over being forced to trade Jimmy G. Do you think Bill Belichick was furious and demoralized on Sunday night?
No.
Because Tom won, right? Tom won.
Right.
He won with Mr. Kraft.
Right.
And then he won on the field last year, at least they got to the Super Bowl, and they're back in the Super Bowl again, and they did it the hard way. They went through Kansas City, which most people thought they couldn't do. So wasn't he sort of hugging from a position of strength?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. And that's the thing, though, Skip, is in these moments, it's hard to say when someone's at their happiest. I mean, what's he supposed to say?
Yeah.
I mean, how was he supposed to act? And you know, look, both of these gentlemen are smart enough to know that at a moment like this, how many cameras you think were on that field for that game? 21, 25?
I don't know.
Because they'll probably have 35, 40 at the Super Bowl.
With lots of audio, too.
Audio is on everything because I need to get everything.
Yeah.
So you know, hey, love you. Love you too. Come on, bro.
Love you.
We know there was a lot of truth to that. Because, Skip, if there's no truth, okay, Coach Belichick says he don't want to respond to gossip.
Yep.
But why would he sign his name to a statement that Mr. Kraft put out with his name, Tom Brady's, and Mr. Kraft's name on it? Just count me out. I don't even want to be a part of that. Of course. There's some truth to that. This Seth Wickersham, I don't really know him, Skip. You know him a lot better than I do. That man ain't just making up that.
No.
All of a sudden, so he just want to write an article.
Listen, he's highly respected. His employer is highly respected.
Yes.
This was not some second-rate, second-class, dismissible reporting. Nope, sorry.
Yes.
They nailed it. And you know it's operating, but both of them are smart enough to realize still works.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, it's a good partnership. So what is Tom Brady going to say on Monday morning? Is he going to say, well, we've never gotten along? Well,
Right.
wthe point?
Exactly.
What are we going to do?
Exactly.
What are you going to gain?
Right.
Right?
Maybe I do an interview after the Super Bowl, do another Jim Gray, and if Coach Belichick does something like he did last year, maybe bench one of our starters, maybe I'll have something else to say.
You know what? That is true. And I'm going to say it again. He better not bench Stephon Gilmore for the whole Super Bowl or something's really up, right? I told you it felt sabotagey to me last year, and I still wonder about that move. But I don't wonder about this because it was interesting on Brady's radio show. He was talking about how something like what happened last night, which was Sunday night, he's saying it's a game we'll all remember for the rest of our lives. Emotions just take over at that point. You're not thinking much, you're just feeling it. Well, it was interesting to me because that also describes what was going on in the fourth quarter and overtime of that game. Tom Brady obviously prepares hard. Every quarterback prepares hard, but he's right up there with the Peytons and the best of them.
The really great ones.
Yeah, how much you put into it, how much is in the back of your mind when you go into the game, and then you just blank it out. You just let it go in your subconscious, and then you just have to read and react the whole game. So he's saying, at the end of the game, you're not even thinking, like after a while, I don't think he knows where he is because he's just doing what he's taught himself to do, right? Mm-hmm. It's just happening before him, but the quarterbacks who overthink it are the guys who wind up on the couch pretty quickly, right?
Yes.
Because the position, it's the hardest position to play in sports, and you can't think too much. You just have to prepare for it, and then as it happens, you read, you react to it, and then if you misfire, you go to the next play.
You have to have a short memory. You have to have tremendous recall.
You do.
Because when you go into a game, Skip, look, you have 100 plays, 120 plays, and there's a defense for every formation and all this. And so you need to be able to recall that when someone's coming to try to take your helmet off. And what Tom Brady and the really great ones can do, they can recall information that says that when we're in this set, in this down and distance, in this area of the field, this is the defense that they normally run. But if they don't do this, they'll normally do that. And it's got to be instantaneous. It's just got to be like this. So you just recall it. And the really good ones can recall it. I bet you Tom Brady, you can go ask Tom Brady right now. And down and distance, when you threw this ball to Gronk, what defense were they in? What were you expecting?
Oh, he would know
and,
it.
And he can call it back. Just like Sean McVay can tell you every play, the really good ones can do that.
Except the difference is Sean McVay wants to demonstrate that to the media that he can do it, and Tom Brady is not interested in displaying that for the world.
He just has
to
to
see.
he just displays it during the game
Yep.
because they're not fooling him. He knows, and the thing is, Bob Sutton is lucky that he still has a job. I don't know how much longer. That's the defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, because I'm sure Andy Reid is thinking like, why wouldn't you double Edelman?
I know.
Why wouldn't you double
I agree.
Gronk? But Skip, look, Tom Brady and what he's been able to accomplish, because you have to understand how this relationship started out. Coach Belichick always had his name because he was one of the foremost defensive coordinators in the NFL when he took this job.
I agree.
So he was already Bill Belichick.
He was.
Now all of a sudden you get this skinny kid who ran the worst 40 in NFL history.
He did.
And he comes in and he throws one touchdown in a playoff run and you win the Super Bowl. He's the MVP. But you're still Bill Belichick. And the next thing you know, he wins another.
Well, Bill got all the credit for the St. Louis Rams Super Bowl because it was defensive genius.
Right. And how was he getting to the Super Bowl? He was beating one of the best quarterbacks of all time in coming, Peyton Manning. And he was confusing him. So it was still Bill. Now all of a sudden something happens. Not only did he win in his first 10 years, he win 3 Super Bowls, but now he's an MVP. 50 touchdowns.
I thought it switched against the Legion of Boom. That's where the credit started to lean toward the quarterback.
He was thought of probably about that time, Skip, but he had started gaining that momentum. And Coach Belichick, because they weren't winning, all of a sudden, like, well, what happened? A lot of people had the same question you have. Has he lost his fastball? I mean, what's going on? Why haven't they been able to get back when they've had such success? And so now, for the most part, however you look at it, don't even playing field. Now, Skip, at the end of the day, we together, and we've been together for 18 years, and we've gone to 9 Super Bowls. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, Skip, I could possibly get the one without the other. Ooh. How am I going to look now? How you like me now? You said I needed him. I didn't. You said I needed him. I didn't. So now that dynamic completely changed. It was just like Coach Walsh and Joe Montana. Skip, it was 50. I don't know, Coach Walsh, that innovative offense and what he's doing. But look at Joe, blah, blah, blah. Coach Walsh steps aside. Joe hangs 55-10 on the Broncos.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden.
And pretty soon, what was Coach, and I love Coach Walsh. God rest his soul. Absolutely. Knew him well. But then what did Coach Walsh start saying after he was gone? He started saying Jerry Rice is the greatest football player. Football player.
Yes.
Football player ever. Not the greatest receiver, the greatest. Wait a second. But Joe was throwing.
I thought the coaches always said the quarterback is the most important player, plays the most important position. I don't care if it's Jerry Rice and he has 22,000 yards and all those 1,500 catches and 208 total touchdowns.
Yep.
Guess what, Skip? He still played a dependent position.
Yep. Listen, Tom Brady knew full well, because he has his own offensive genius in his head. He knew at the end of that game what had just transpired. He knew that Patrick Mahomes barely had the ball in the fourth quarter. It was a grand total of 3 minutes, and he scored 24 points, and Brady beat him in overtime by playing keep away. Right. He just went all the way down the field, 75 yards in 9 plays, whatever it was. 13 plays. 13 plays, and that's the ball game.
Yes.
And so he knew when he walked up to Belichick, we did it the hard way, didn't we, Coach? Love you.
Yeah.
Love you too.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
No, you did it. You did it.
And when Belichick was asked on his radio show about saying love you to Tom Brady, you know what his quote was? I said that to a lot of guys last night. Aha! Aha!
Oh, so just when Tom thought he was special.
Aha!
I got a lot of boos, Tom. You ain't the only boo I got. I said it to Hightower. I said it to Gilmore. I said it to Sonny Michel, James White, the entire offensive line.
I said it to Slater. I said it to everybody.
Right? All around.
Coach Belichick, Skip, just when you thought it was safe to come outside, Coach Belichick got that hammer waiting to hit you.
That's it.
Well, you know who didn't get any love on Sunday? It was the refs. Yeah, it's been a tough couple days. Does the NFL need to change their pass interference rules after everything we saw on Sunday? The debacle we'll discuss next.
No mercy. Hey everyone, Jenny Taft here, and thank you for listening to the Undisputed podcast. If you like what you hear, then you should subscribe to the First Things First podcast featuring Chris Carter, Nick Wright, and Jenna Wolf. The First Things First pod breaks down the biggest stories in the world of sports. So if you like the NFL, NBA, college sports, then you're going to like this podcast, the First Things First podcast. The First Things First podcast drops Monday through Friday with a special weekend edition as well. And be sure to catch the show live on TV before us every weekday at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. Now, back to our show.
No mercy. The NFL will reportedly discuss this offseason whether to make pass interference penalties reviewable. This comes on the heels of the major controversy in the Saints' loss on Sunday. After the game, Sean Payton was told by the head of officials that the refs, quote, blew the call. And yesterday, Saints owner Gail Benson said that she will, quote, aggressively pursue changes in NFL policies. Shannon, should pass interference be reviewable?
No, because then where does it end? What about holding on the offensive line? Skip, was pass interference, was it a rule that was instituted this year? So it's been going on for a while. Why now? You see, and it goes to something else we've talked about, Skip. We're not nearly as concerned about things that don't affect us. We've been talking about that a lot over the last couple of years, about things that don't affect us and we seem to have no interest in. But, Skip, that's a fish I'm going to fry another day. Right here, I'm going to keep this right here, what we're talking about. You see what has transpired, Skip, is that, so what about a call? I mean, Dak Prescott, you mentioned it, got hit in his head. They didn't throw a flag. Should Jason Garrett been able to review that? Because that would have been an automatic first down. They didn't. Jared Goff Sunday, on 2nd and goal. He got a face mask on the scramble. Should Sean McVay been able to review that? You see, the rules have already slanted for the offense. Skip, at some point in time, You got to let you got the incidental contact. You got all that. You got the defenseless receiver. You got targeting. This is why you see 13, 14 guys throw for 4,000 yards in a season. You're getting guys getting 5,050. It's commonplace. You're almost disappointed if you don't have a guy or two guys that have 5,000 yards in the season. So the offenses already have so much slanted in their direction. I cannot believe this. So this is the first time that a call have gone against the team, and I get it. At the moment, it's the NFC Championship game, and you're one step away. Skip, I get all of that. But it's hard for me to believe that there has not been an egregious call that has happened over the course of NFL history that's gone against the team that prevented them. Because what have we heard? I've heard every coach that I've had, and I played 26 years of organized football, from Pee Wee to JV to high school to college to pro, Skip. And every coach has said, we don't blame the officials. It's not one call. It's not one play. And lo and behold, if a play goes against you, we're going to throw all of that out the window. Now we're going to start blaming the official. Really? What about Drew Brees? Drew Brees did not play well. You had a 13-0 lead in the first quarter. What about that? So I just want to know, when does it stop? So what are we going to do? Every PI? Because I can assure you, Skip, that guy didn't say, you know what? I'm going to miss this call. I ain't going to call it. Because we're going to talk about Andy Reid and said how he said the guy had his hand on the flag.
Sure.
So what? And he threw the flag. So Andy Reid's going to be upset that he interjected himself. Sean Payton, on the other hand, is upset that the guy didn't interject himself. So who's right and who's wrong here? But Skip, don't do this. Because you open up a can of worms, you're going down a slippery slope that there's no coming back from. And I just want to know, where does it stop? What's not going to be? So why is defensive PI more important than offensive holding? I don't think it would be. But I definitely don't think this should be reviewable.
What is the most significant penalty in NFL football as opposed to college football? It's the pass interference.
Sure.
It's the most penal of all the penalties because it's a spot foul.
Yeah.
And so if you throw a 60-yard pass, it can be a 60-yard flag, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to college football, where I would teach my kids to just grab them.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you're beat, just pull them down.
Yeah.
Make sure that it can't catch it. It's almost like the intentional foul in basketball. Just wrap them up. Make sure they can't shoot it, that you can't get the and one, right?
Correct.
So in this case, the pass wasn't that far. And I get everything you said about everything that transpired for the first 58 minutes of that game, but I can't help the fact, I can't stop the fact that the wrong team is going to the Super Bowl. I just can't help it, because you can do all the ifs and ands and buts about the previous 58 minutes, but in the end, all anybody knows or cares about now going forward is, with 1 minute and 48 seconds left, a pass was thrown to an open receiver, and Nickel Roby-Coleman, the nickelback for the Rams, decided he was so beaten that I'm just going to foul him.
Yeah.
I'm going to run him over. And he admitted after the game, I was dead, man. I wasn't going to let him score. So he made a choice. I'm not going to give up a touchdown. I'm just going to take the pass interference. And he willfully took it.
Yes.
It was blatant. It was flagrant. It was egregious. Nobody in the known world disagrees with the fact that should have been called. By 3 flags should have flown, right?
Correct.
It's as blatant a pass interference as you will ever see. It's helmet to helmet. It's face guarding. It's all of the above. It's the worst uncalled penalty I think I ever have seen in a big moment, in a big game. This is one step from the Super Bowl. Then to carry it on out, so now with 1 minute and 45 seconds left, they would have had 1st and goal at the 5. The Rams had 1 timeout left, and I'm not great at clock math, but I've read a lot of stories, so if you bleed it correctly down to take the field goal on 4th down, you would have left the Rams with about 25 seconds left, and you would have kicked off to them. Could they have pulled off another Zerline miracle?
A New Orleans miracle.
Okay, well, could they? Yeah, it's possible, but not probable.
Right.
So now I'm left with this sinking feeling that the wrong team is going to the Super Bowl, that the Rams are counterfeit, that they're fraudulent. And again, I have nothing but respect for the Rams. They had a great year. They're a loaded football team. Are they a worthy Super Bowl? Yes, they're worthy. And I don't have any problem with that. I'm not thinking like some hopeless underdog is playing Brady and Belichick, because they're not hopeless.
Right.
In fact, on paper, they look like they're a little better than New England, right? They should have played better than they did all year. Maybe they finally just figured it out now. Maybe it's time for them to flex on the Super Bowl stage, because if they flex all their muscles, they're better than New England. Okay, so I get all that. But New Orleans deserved to go to the Super Bowl. So in NFL history, we've seen this league, and it's a great league, but it's been reactive, not proactive. So it always takes a flashpoint. It takes an outcry. And I'm going to go way back, and most of our viewers won't even know what I'm talking about, but the reason we have any replay at all was a play that happened in the 79 playoffs at Pittsburgh featuring Mike Renfro. This is Pastorini to Mike Renfro. Do you remember this? This is Bum Phillips Oilers, and guess who's an assistant on the staff? Wade Phillips is on that staff. And if we could see this play, this is a touchdown to Mike Renfro, who I got to know when he was a Dallas Cowboy later, but they said he was out of bounds. 1 foot goes down. It's bang, bang, he got his feet down. Okay, if there's replay, is that a touchdown? Well, sure, it's a touchdown. Okay, so that play arguably kept the Oilers from going to the Super Bowl that year. Okay, and I believe that would have been the one that they played Vince Ferragamo and the Rams here in 79, right? Okay, so the point was that created outcry. And Bum Phillips just beat that drum through that whole offseason, and it started the wheels turning toward use of instant replay. It didn't come in for about 5 more years, but again, that was the flashpoint. So to me, because Sean Payton is on the competition committee, and he is outraged over this, and he's already been pushing for some sort of replay on pass interference, I'm willing to bet you that by next year we're going to have replay of pass interference at least in the last 2 minutes of regulation and in overtime.
So what is it about helmet to helmet?
I'm with you. You're going to open Pandora's box.
Yes, okay? I want to review that.
Okay, it's any judgment call. Should we open it up to any? I'm open to doing that. I'm open just to say in the last 2 minutes. Okay, now we have length of game. So you understand, the college game is almost 30 minutes longer. And you know college games. They can go forever. And again, I never complain. I'll watch a University of Oklahoma football game, and it'll go on, and I'll look at my watch, and I'll say, this is a 4-hour game. Does anybody care? No. Nobody cares. But usually you're not threatening Sunday night primetime programming, right? It's not 60 Minutes or The Simpsons or Family Guy or whatever's coming on, you know, where you're going to threaten your nighttime block. But that's why they've tried to keep the NFL games as close to 3:05-ish, 3:10-ish as they can.
Yes.
So would this lengthen the games? It could, depending on how many times it got used. Look, in the end, you love this game. I love this game, but don't you want them to get it right?
But here's the thing, though, with college, Skip. They stop the clock on every first down.
Okay.
NFL, they keep it running.
Yeah.
So can you imagine if they were to stop the clock on every first down in the NFL game, how long it would take?
Okay.
So if college is, and that's what, Time yesterday came on our show and he says college should implement all NFL rules to prepare these guys.
For like the overtime rules.
Right, overtime rules and to stop it. But Skip, you know where this is headed.
Okay,
the games are going to be, you say that now. I don't want a 4-hour, I don't want a 3.5-hour NFL game. I don't want a 4-hour NFL game.
You know what?
Bug you?
Yes.
To me, our technology is so supreme now. We have cameras everywhere. We can see it from 15 angles until finally on the Edelman muff or non-muff, we saw it. We got it this way and that way and that way until finally I said, guess what? He didn't touch the ball. His thumbs didn't touch. Weren't we pretty sure no thumb touched the football?
Yes.
Well, back in the 80s and even in the 90s, I'm not sure we had enough angles to figure that one out.
Right.
But we got it. I think they got it right. It took a while, but they got it right.
Right.
Well, they would have gotten this. If the head referee goes over under the hood or wherever he's going, and takes one look at that, the Nickel Roby-Coleman play, wouldn't he just take one look and say, oh, we missed that one?
Skip, everything
right?
bad in slow motion.
Okay, but this one was blatant. I still can't believe they didn't get it in fast motion.
He was, Skip, he was wrong. And just like players panic sometimes, why? All you had to do is just turn around. They panic. He panicked. He's human.
Yeah.
Who panicked? Oh,
the official.
Oh, the official. The side judge,
panicked.
the back judge. I don't know which one
froze.
did. Yeah. And again, remember what's going on. More and more throughout this country, gambling is being legalized.
Yes.
So you have a lot of people betting a lot of money on these games, and they see these referees, they all have, just like I have right now, they have an earpiece in.
You're right.
So they're starting to say, again, conspiracy theories are flying,
You're
but
right.
this cloud of doubt is growing over the NFL. Are these games predetermined? Or did they want the Rams to go?
If the people ever think the outcome is already predetermined, it's over. Football is done.
And again, what did the owner of the New Orleans Saints say?
Right.
Gail
Benson.
Mm-hmm. What did she write in her response? She used the word integrity. Mm-hmm. She said this is called into question the integrity of the National Football League. Well, that's a strong word to use, because after a while, once you lose your integrity,
Skip,
you're done.
I think this has a lot more to do with the feel-good story of Drew Brees and what he's represented in New Orleans, and Gail Benson, who's taken over the New Orleans Saints ownership from her husband.
Yeah.
But come on, this is not the first time an egregious call has been missed or made.
It's just at a flashpoint moment that decided the game. That's all. We can go back through the missed face mask and any other thing you want to question, second guess all through the game. But that one, I'm pretty sure, decided the football game. The lack of flag on that play sent the Rams to the Super Bowl. No disrespect to the Rams, it's just a flashpoint, and I think you're going to hear it the rest of the offseason. And I think the competition committee, they've already announced they will at least address this issue. Sean Payton will campaign to at least get replay instituted on pass interference in the last 2 minutes. I'll bet you it will happen. But to your point, and it's a valid one, okay, then what about holding? What about helmet to helmet?
Yes.
What's going to happen is any judgment call will be reviewed maybe just in the last 2 minutes in overtime.
Because we've seen, Skip, guys hit someone with their shoulder,
Sure.
and they say helmet to helmet, they throw the flag. And you're like, that wasn't he. That's what he saw. So now I want to review that.
But what do you hear on television, live, in the moment?
Yes.
You hear Mike Pereira, former director of officials now at Fox.
Yeah.
He'll take one look at a play and he'll say, that was a foul, right? So it's
right.
and he's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
And it's easy. Gene Steratore on CBS, he former head of,
Right.
head
But see,
official.
he's taking one look at a play in replay.
You're right.
That guy's eyes is not in replay. He's looking at it instantaneous like you and I.
But to your point about time and dragging
Yeah.
on games, it's pretty easy. Now, Mike Pereira's under fire. He's just sitting in the booth, but he'll take one look and say, that's a foul.
Right.
Or not a foul.
But here's the thing, Skip. Let's just say for the sake of argument, they take one look and come back and say, oh, this was this or this was that.
Yeah.
See, he ain't even take no time.
Okay.
Look how soon he came out of the
All
booth.
right.
He ain't spent no time. They'd already told him, Skip, you can't win in this situation. You know how this works.
Could open up a lot of changes. And to any change to the rules, it would have to be approved by at least 24 of those owners to make any changes.
Well, I know the Rams not going to vote for it.
I don't think they're going to be voting for it. They're going to be taking this
They
one
say,
till
nah,
the
we
end.
good.
heard
We
it
good
from
over here.
ED yesterday.
Yeah.
No mercy.
Next up, the Eagles season is over, but they're still in the news. The Philly Voice said they talked to a handful of Eagles players, and those players described Carson Wentz as, quote, selfish and egotistical. Wentz is also not as loved in the locker room as Nick Foles. Several Eagles players came to Wentz's defense on Twitter yesterday, including Zach Ertz, who said, quote, don't believe everything you read. And Lane Johnson called the whole thing fake news. Shannon.
Yes.
What do you make of this?
Well, I don't think this is a story that we can just brush off. Skip, my grandmother used to have a saying when I was a young boy. She said, boy, there's a little truth even in the lie. Now,
Sure.
Carson Wentz understands his position in this organization, Skip.
Yep.
They moved heaven and earth to move up to select him. So he knows he's special. But on the flip side, any player that's worth anything that's been injured knows that your teammates and the coaches, they treat you different. Skip, you can't help me if you not on game day, you getting treatment or you in street clothes. So Carson Wentz saw something happen. I think you believe, Skip, last year he was going to be the MVP, the year they won the Super Bowl, so I guess it was the year before. He was going to be the MVP. He gets hurt. His backup comes in, and as you mentioned, he played the two best back-to-back games, a championship game and a Super Bowl that we had ever seen.
Yep.
So the toast of the town, the talk of the locker room is him.
Yep.
They forgot about what you did to help get them there. You didn't get them over the finish line. So now, again, we have the same situation. He hears what's going on. He hears the media talking. Maybe they should trade Wentz and re-sign Foles.
Yep.
He hears they're building shrines. I told you, Skip, they're building shrines in the locker room for Nick Foles. He hears that. Now, I want to also share something with the fans out there, Skip. A professional athlete, a really good one, being selfish. That's not new. That's not earth-shattering news. There's a little selfishness in all of them. And we all have a little ego. I got a little ego. You know what it tell me why, Jenny? Because during this show, it says Skip and Shannon Undisputed.
Sure.
I was handpicked by the guy that's named first. So I got a little ego. Yeah. I was the first guy.
You know about this?
I was the first guy that didn't have a journalism background, that didn't specifically worked in the media to sit across from a man and debate every single day. Yeah, I got an ego.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I feel special because the man handpicked me. Carson Wentz feels special. They handpicked him. They traded up to get him. And now somebody is coming in there. How did Tom Brady get his job, Skip? Somebody got hurt. He performed well. And ta-da, Dak Prescott, how did he get his job? Somebody got hurt. He performed well. Ta-da! Carson Wentz is well aware of this. He understands how this works. Am I going to say everything? Am I surprised that some of his teammates came out? Nope, absolutely not. But it's hard for me to believe that everything in this story is absolutely false. And it's hard. It's going to be hard for Carson Wentz to get out from under this because there are some in that locker room, given the success that they've had with Nick Foles. Yeah, I could ride with Nick because Nick will make things happen. You know, but to Skip, this dynamic that, all Foles, Wentz just focus on Zach Ertz. Wentz throws the ball an average of 9.6 targets a game. Foles is 9.3. So it's not as lopsided as you think. But I expected Fletcher Cox, who's the captain of this team. I expected Lane Johnson, who's one of the outspoken leaders of this team.
They stepped right up.
They stepped right up and supported their guy.
They did.
But this came from somebody saying this, Skip. Now, maybe all the egotistical, all that other stuff, I don't know about all that. But it's hard for me to believe that this is a completely 100% fabrication in this instance.
I am with you, and I do not know this writer, and I hope I pronounce his name correctly, but I appreciated how he put this story together because it had the ring of truth to me. Even though he didn't quote anybody on the record, it sounded like he did his homework and his legwork. And his name is Joseph Santo Laquito. I hope I got that right, but he's longtime Philadelphia, deep roots. I think he's respected.
Right.
Don't know him, but I think that's the drift I get. So the drift of this story seems right to me, but it has a lot of upbeat in it too, because near the end he's saying to a person, the sources who spoke for the story stressed, they want Carson Wentz to succeed. And I think that's why all those teammates stepped right up and said that. Only 26 years of age. He's just played one full NFL season. Many would agree the quarterback wants to be a superstar and that sometimes he acts like he's already won and he hasn't yet earned it, but that's, it says the writer, understandable, and it is. And I told you going into this past football season, there's never been anything like this in the history of the National Football League that, and again, here's the difference in your Bledsoe-Brady. Did Bill Belichick draft Drew Bledsoe? No.
No.
He inherited him.
He had no
okay.
Yeah,
okay. So he didn't have a stake in it.
Right.
Well, there's big stake in this kid because boy, they
moved heaven and earth to
heaven and earth. Yeah, they threw in the sun and the moon, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so they trade up to get him, and they bet their ranch on it.
Mortgaged everything.
And all of a sudden, the backup goes in and does that and wins the Super Bowl MVP. This has never happened before. So the kid comes back and
not just that. Who did they beat? Who did he outgun? They beat a dynasty. They beat Coach Belichick and Bill and Tom Brady.
Yep. So there's euphoria in Philadelphia, and it lasts through the offseason, and all of a sudden Carson Wentz is rushing back off it was a horrendous injury. It was career-threatening because he tore two.
ACL and PCL.
Okay. And he pushed back, and he never looked quite right to me, like he trusted it completely this year, so that's not fair. And looking over his shoulder is that guy. And then right on cue, I don't know what happened. Did he have a serious back injury or not? I don't know. It just looked like finally Doug Peterson said, let's just throw Nick in there. We got an opening here. Let's see what happens. And he went right back to being Nick Foles.
Correct.
And they win the last 3 of the regular season, and then they pretty much steal the playoff game, but he played pretty well and beat the Bears, the #1 scoring defense in football in Chicago, and he was on the move at New Orleans until the ball goes through Alshon's hands, so you can't pin the whole – he didn't play great in that game because there was a long stretch where he didn't play very well.
Right.
But again, that locker room is still thinking, wait a second.
Yeah.
Right.
That guy, it just looks different when Nick Foles is operating that offense, which is what this story is about. And again – I don't know anything about Carson Wentz. I only know the media portrayal, but there's an early line in here that his aw shucks, overgrown Opie from Mayberry routine plays well with the local and national media, but that underneath it all, he can be selfish, to your point, uncompromising, egotistical. Well, yeah, like all the rest of them can be.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, he's threatened because he's having to fight for his job in a position that he shouldn't have to be. He should be the unquestioned starter, and now he's not unquestioned. So is he acting a little out of character right now? I'm sure he is. But my problem with him is this whole issue that I've told you before about Wentz also struggled reading defenses this season, according to sources. His eyes were all over the place. This is my issue with him from the start. There's no doubting the arm strength. There's no doubting the athletic ability, because when he was right, when he was healthy, when he escapes, he can run a little bit.
Yes.
And he's a load to bring down. He's Roethlisberger-esque and more mobile than Roethlisberger.
Yes.
But again, the feel, the command of reading it, seeing it with poise in that sort of Brady-esque rhythm and flow, I haven't seen that yet from this kid, even though he had a sensational year last year building up to, I need to see more of that, and I'm sure they're wanting to see more of that. And now there's big questions about, can he stay healthy?
Yes.
Sure.
I don't know.
I think that's the more important question for them, Skip, is his health. Because, look, I think he's shown in his sophomore season that he can be a very, very good quarterback, and he can read defenses. I mean, he was, 33-7. So that lets you know he can process information. The question that they're going to have moving forward, but here's a guy, as you mentioned, going into his senior season in the NFL, is that he's only been healthy his freshman season.
Yeah.
And that doesn't bode well in considering he was hurt in college.
Yeah.
So what the history says is that at some point in time, he's going to get nicked again.
Yeah.
They're going to have to move Nick Foles. They're going to have to get him up out of here.
I told you this before, and I always speak from a Cowboy fan perspective. I fear Foles more than I fear Wentz, in part because my team beat Carson Wentz twice this year. Did he have his moments in those games? He did. But I always told you he felt codependent on 86. I told you going into the first game, you just have to just double 86 because his security blanket more than Foles. And I know the numbers tell you a little different story. But again, the big point of this story is that he favored 86, Zach Ertz, that he's just going to look for him and that he's going to check out a run plays so he can check it down to 86. Because it's an easy throw. He's a big, rangy, athletic tight end who can catch it.
Right.
So, again, that got a little out of hand, and it started to alienate the offensive line because they feel like they're pretty good and that they can run block. And when you're checking out of a lot of run plays, it starts to create havoc in the locker room because they're just not happy with it.
Yeah, Skip, it's tough because to see what this man took your team and accomplished what you were supposed to do. And everybody, they love him. Skip, contrary to what you said, yeah, they love him. But he ain't did what Nick Foles did for him yet. They got a ring on their finger because of Nick Foles. They know that. I don't believe any other quarterback could have done as good as they played offensively, as good as they played defensively. I believe Nick Foles was the only backup quarterback that could have done what he did in that situation. And so now
I'm not sure many starting quarterbacks could do that, right?
Yeah. And given the circumstances. But Carson Wentz understands it. I don't know if he understood it going in. But when you're hurt, you're just a guy.
Okay.
I don't care how great you were.
So if you're in that brain trust in Philadelphia, and in your heart of hearts, you believe in Carson Wentz,
You got to move Foles.
You got to go. You got to move. You got to cut bait with Nick Foles because it's not fair to this kid. You know what? If you do move Foles, just get him out of there, clear the decks, then it's possible he'll mature into that guy.
It'll clear his mind.
Yeah.
You're right.
Because he's not looking over his shoulder. He's not pressing and forcing everything and stressing over everything because he knows the other guy's really good.
Right.
Yeah. You brought up his age, and I just was being reminded that he's only 26. I mean, this is still just the beginning for the guy. If he gets healthy and
if he's right,
has
if
a
he's that
fresh
guy.
start. But hearing people say those things about you, that doesn't sit well.
No.
I mean, that article isn't going to feel good for him.
Hey.
Well, maybe it'll do good.
Wake
for
up
him.
call?
Yeah.
We'll see. All right. Andy Reid, he was also complaining about the refs. After the Chiefs' loss on Sunday, we'll discuss what he had to say.
No mercy.
Well, the Chiefs' loss on Sunday may have come down to one play. With under a minute left in the fourth and the Chiefs up by 4, Tom Brady threw an apparent interception, but it didn't count because linebacker Dee Ford was offsides. The Patriots went on to score and ultimately won the game. Yesterday, Andy Reid talked about that call and another disappointing finish in the playoffs. Take a listen.
Normally you're warned and the coach is warned if somebody's doing that before they throw it in a game with that magnitude, but they did, and he didn't waste any time doing it. He didn't wait till the interception to throw it. He had his hand on his flag right from the get-go, so he saw it on his angle and felt that was the call. It's not easy to be in the championship game. I mean, remember that. As you ask all these questions, remember that. This isn't an easy thing. So it's don't understand it right now. Just listen. So it's not an easy thing to do. So there's a lot of credit that goes out to these guys that busted their tail to put this organization in this city to have an opportunity like that. Yes, sir, that's a special thing. We'll work on taking care of the rest, but don't downplay that there were only 4 teams playing yesterday, and you were one of them.
Whew, a lot there from Andy. Okay, Shannon, let's go back to the offsides penalty. Does Andy have a point there?
No, he got no point. Dee Ford is in a wide 9, Skip. What we mean by a wide 9, he's 2 yards outside the left tackle. He's also in what they call a cocked or an angle stance. He's looking in. His job is to look in, Skip. If I'm in a 9 and I got to look in, not look in and see the ball, I got to look back to see the ball because that's how far in front of the ball I am.
Yeah.
So what was the official done? Stop that. Hold on, D. You need to back up because you're in the backfield. That's your job. Andy, you should feel good that he threw the flag and he didn't wait till the interception happened. How would you have felt had he thrown the flag after the interception had occurred? Let's just take it another way, Skip. Let's just say he doesn't throw the flag. Dee Ford strip sacks Tom Brady. Now what are we having? What's the discussion? He lined up offsides. They normally, if you're close, Skip, not like this. They're not going to ever let this go. If you're close, yes, they'll come back to, hey, okay, Shannon, you getting off a little early on that snap. Now, slow it down. Okay, appreciate that, ref. Good looking out. Did you see how far granted, he doesn't have the luxury of television, what we have, and can see how far ahead of the blue line he was, Skip. But, Skip, he's looking at the ball. That's the whole thing. How you line up offside? We always ask the defensive guy, how you line up offside, you can see the ball. You are ahead of, Skip, he a body length, a half a body of head of the ball.
It's blatant.
And and Andy Reid want the official to stop the play, go get him and say, back up, son. Really? Now, sometimes they will do that on like field goal or PAT, you offside, and a lot of times, especially wide receivers or DBs, they'll turn and look, am I okay?
But they're asking.
Yes.
And he's standing right there, and you can hear.
Yeah.
Sure.
Back up a little. Okay, Shannon, you'll back up a little. Okay.
Yeah.
He's on the sideline. He can't run in there and tell Dee Ford to back up.
And Dee Ford didn't look to the sideline to say, is this
Dude,
okay?
He's looking in. Normally you look in at the ball. He has to look back at the ball because that's how far in front of the ball he is.
He said after the game, I have to see the ball. Boy, you could really see that ball, right?
And the thing is, Skip, Andy's upset. Andy, I get it. You one of 4 teams, but that ain't why you play. Being in the championship game ain't why you play. You lift all those heavy-ass weights. You eat the way you eat. You become disciplined. You spend all that time in the meeting room for one reason, and it's not to play in a conference championship game. Trust me. I understand your frustration, but don't be mad at a reporter for asking you a question, and you're going to talk about how special it is. I get all that. It's special to play in the NFL. But if you ain't playing 2 weeks from the last Sunday that you played that championship game, all you did was practice 2 weeks, 3 weeks longer than everybody else did. So miss me with that, Andy.
Agreed. This is why I've never been a big fan of Andy Reid as a head football coach. As an offensive game planner and play caller, you got me. He's really good at what he does. As a quarterback, teacher, and maker, he's really good. He worked wonders with young Mahomes quickly. He got him up to speed very quickly. With Donovan. He did a great job with Donovan. As a head coach, setting the right tone for his football team, as you know, it's a rough game that you're playing.
Yeah.
And he is soft. He's soft on his players. They're never the fittest football team. He doesn't push his team hard enough. And to me, it reflects in the fact that he can produce good teams who will always or almost always disappoint you. He is now, Andy Reid, 2-10 in one-score playoff games. Think about that. 2-10 in close playoff games. Really?
Yep.
So he's 12-14 overall, which is pretty good. It's okay, not bad. But that's what he is as a head football coach. He's not bad. So he had the audacity yesterday to tell the media, to then tell Chiefs Nation, you should appreciate the fact we got to the Final Four. And you should appreciate the fact we got robbed by a referee who did not tell D Ford he was offside. Are you kidding me? Didn't tell him he was offsides? What are you talking about? It's the ultimate reach excuse. It's lame. It's
Somebody
sad.
Fault we
it's
lost.
sorry. It's just sorry. And Sal Palantonio said, I saw it on ESPN, he's been close with Andy for all those years in Philadelphia because Sal's based in Philadelphia.
Right.
And he said Andy pulled him in the office after his media session and told him it was all about that D4. Okay, you know, we get it, but we don't in the end.
Well, D4 wasn't offside those first four possessions in the first half.
Yeah.
D4 didn't line up offside. What about your offense? Now, if Bob Sutton is still in this job, Andy Reid has learned nothing.
I know, but they're very close, and he's been there forever. So
what?
there's another soft issue. That's like, he's my friend. Just watch.
It's hard to be friends in this business.
I got it. I got it.
I'm trying to win games.
And I got news for Andy Reid. They do not give participation trophies in this.
No!
You don't get a trophy for finishing whatever you want to say.
Final
Four.
Or
whatever, yeah.
Oh, I'm going to call. You know what, man? Final Four. I don't want to, if I don't win the national championship, I'm good. We was at the Final Four.
Yeah, we were at the Final Four.
Man,
It's lost. It doesn't matter. It's why your team can't get over the hump. The other way to play this is just to go ballistic and say it was our fault. We have to be better. We have to defend. We can't allow the other team to play keep away and control the ball.
To go up and down the field, even when we take a lead, to go up and down the field, and we can't get the ball, even though we get them in third down.
Right. You should have told the media yesterday, allowing 13 of 19 third down conversions is unacceptable. It cannot happen. And it will not happen again. That's what I would want to hear if I were a Chiefs fan.
And I'm watching the game. You was like, Andy, you standing on the sideline like, wow, they're doubling Tyreek. On occasion, they double Travis Kelce. But we're not doubling Gronk. And he's getting third down. We're not doubling Julian Edelman. I'm going to make Hogan. I'm going to make Dorsett. I'm going to make someone other than the two guys that I know Brady's looking for beat me.
Or look at Tom Brady and say, his jersey is still clean.
Exactly.
We can't get any heat on him. Should we be blitzing more? Should we do something creative with the blitz? Why can't we get a hand on Tom Brady?
And why are we still blowing assignments? You know what, Skip, I used to ask him, I was like, because when we did 2-minute drill, Skip, we would always do it at the end of Thursday's practice. And I was like, I'm dead tired. And Mike would always make sure the last two plays before we started 2 minutes, Skip, we were tired. So he's going to call a go route for me, Ed route, because he wants everybody to go deep. And then he says, okay, 2 minutes. And I'm like, Mike, why you won't do it when we're fresh? He says, because in more times than not, you're going to be tired in the game. He says, and I want you to, because when you get tired, you lose your focus. I want you to get used to focusing now when you're tired, so it'll be second nature in the game. So we didn't blow a whole lot of assignments when it came to 2-minute drill late in the ball game. Look at that defense, and you see how many missed assignments they have. They let Julian Edelman run scot-free.
Okay, but when you're on the field for 44 minutes, that's a lot of football.
Fatigue will do to you.
I know.
That's what it'll do to you, Skip. You train. Why you 44? I'd have been on the minute for 144 minutes.
What did your favorite coach Lombardi once say? Fatigue makes cowards of us all.
Yes. You got to be able to think in that moment, Skip.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, they looked fatigued because when you let Julian Edelman just keep escaping into the middle of your zone, you know, like what?
Okay,
Really?
we're playing two-man. We're playing cover. It's cover 5. 2 deep shell, man underneath. You got 3 across the board, 2 deep. That's why we call it cover 5, Jenny. Just explaining to the people at home why we call it cover 5. 22 man. Where am I vulnerable in the defense, Skip? The middle of the field with the slot guy. Cannot let him get inside. Da-da. I'm not letting you get inside, Julian. You're not getting inside. And the moment he comes in motion, you should, okay, once you see that started using the motion, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. When he comes in motion, you take him, I'm going to take your guy. Because I'm vulnerable, because I'm going to get the pick, and he's going to get to the middle of the field, and I can't stop him. But I guess nobody wants to talk. Nobody wants to meet.
When you say it, it makes total sense.
You know what? It's going to be a culture shock for Tom Brady and company when they run up against Wade Phillips' defense, because Wade has kind of had Tom's number. I'm not saying anybody's ever had his number, but he's done a really good job against him.
The whole thing with Tom, you got to get him off that spot.
Well, I think we're about to talk about that,
You
know
Wade well. You think he's got a plan?
Oh, he got a plan. I know Wade very well. I know Wade.
Well, you say we could never bet against the Patriots because of Tom Brady, but maybe the key to their success is actually not their quarterback. We'll discuss next.
No mercy.
Tom Brady is headed to his 9th Super Bowl, and a big reason why are the guys up front. In the 2 playoff games this year, Brady has dropped back to pass 90 times, and he's been sacked 0 times. Sunday was, 0 times.
What?
Also, the first time the Chiefs' defense did not have a sack in a game. Brady said yesterday, quote, "I think they're stars. I wouldn't want any other guys than those 5. It's a good note how clean his jersey was, right? At the end of that one, you mentioned it yesterday.
Interesting.
So, Shannon, is the Patriots' O-line underrated?
They've been underrated all year because they don't have a Zach Martin. They don't have a Tyron Smith. They don't have a guy that's probably going to the Hall of Fame. They don't have a guy going to a Pro Bowl that's first-team All-Pro. But they were 3rd in sacks allowed. They were 5th in rushing. But all you hear about is Tom. And so that just goes to show you that he has support. He has help. Contrary to what Skip Bayless wants you to believe, that this is all Tom Brady. Oh, Tom Brady's doing this. And I already know what he's going to do. Oh, he throws the ball so quick. But
Wait, have I spoken?
Not yet.
I don't think I've said a word.
I know you. I know you.
You can't do that around here.
Sonny Michel, how'd that run game looking, Skip? Against San Diego.
How about Rex Burkhead?
Oh, whoa.
You like Rex Burkhead?
I thought you were
Journeyman.
I thought you hadn't spoken yet.
Oh,
I thought you hadn't spoken yet. I thought you weren't speaking.
Okay.
All right, continue.
But who was on the field in crunch time Sunday at Kansas City? Rex Burkhead.
Yeah, he was. But was Tom Brady blocking for him? We're talking about the offensive line. So I don't want you to bring Tom Brady. Thank you, Skip. I appreciate that. That was so nice of you to let me go. Thank you.
Talk about the O-line.
Sonny Michel, 100-plus yards against Chargers. Sonny Michel, another 100-plus, 3 touchdowns. Do you know Sonny Michel is the only rookie running back to ever rush for 5 touchdowns in the playoff in the Super Bowl era?
Yep.
He's only the 2nd running back to rush for 5 touchdowns in the playoff season since another Georgia Bulldog, my former teammate, Terrell Davis, in 1997. But that's all Tom. That's Tom Brady doing. Tom Brady's also a great fullback. So let me note that Tom Brady fullback. Anyway, yes. We can talk about Tom Brady only throwing the ball 6 times, 10 yards or more down the field in the first 3 quarters. But in the 4th quarter and overtime, it shot up almost triple, 17 times. So obviously, Skip Bayless, guess what? He's taking more time to throw the ball down the field, and the results are the same. Nobody's touching him.
Interesting.
Tom Brady line pretty good.
Yeah.
Tom Brady pretty good. So Dante Scarnecchia, when they lost the championship game to Denver in Denver, Dante Scarnecchia had retired the year before.
The offensive line coach for the Patriots. Yep.
Coach Belichick was somehow able to lure him out of retirement.
He did.
With the bag. Went over to his house, Jenny, paper bag. Looked inside like, what's this, Bill? Coach Belichick walked out the house. Next thing I know, Dante Scarnecchia is coming back. He's unbelievable. He's as good as it get at what he does. That offensive line, you don't really know. I mean, Trent Brown, Joe Tunney, David Andrews, Shaq Mason, Marcus Cannon. Yeah, they're named. But I don't think any of those guys would probably be rated top 3, top 2, top 3 at their position. But those 5 guys together, behind the Indianapolis Colts, it's hard for me to believe that there's a better offensive line, especially what they've been able to do to rush 100-plus yards and to keep Brady clean.
Interesting.
That's special.
So how are they doing this with a Trent Brown, who was a former 7th-round draft pick that they acquired this past offseason from San Francisco? Remember, gave a 3rd-rounder, but they got back a 5th rounder. You know, it's a complicated deal.
All that in the Garoppolo, that was part of the Garoppolo.
But remember, they lost Nate Solder, big-ticket item to the Giants, right? That was their left tackle. And then they drafted a left tackle with the 23rd overall pick, Isaiah Wynn. And what happened to him? Second preseason game, Achilles rupture. He's gone for the year. So now you're down 2 left tackles, and you throw in Trent Brown at left tackle, former 7th-round draft pick. And you mentioned Joe Tooney. He's a 3rd-rounder. David Andrews, undrafted free agent out of Georgia. And Shaq Mason was a 4th-rounder, and Marcus Cannon was a 5th-rounder. So these are not big-ticket items, any of these 5 guys right here. But the Pro Bowler, the star, the All-Pro, is the offensive line coach. He is simply... You could make a case he's the greatest offensive line coach ever because he's had nothing but high-level success with low-level type players, right?
Alex Gibb was the same way.
He was. And again, you know what? He deserves to be in this conversation because he even made Mark Schlereth, right? You know, our guy.
Got to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, there you go. But the point is, you're right. Dante Scarnecchia, I first met, speaking of bags of money, back in the days at SMU, they did a documentary. They were called The Pony Express, and it became The Pony XS.
Yes.
But it was Eric Dickerson, Craig James.
Literally Pony Express.
Yes, it was, But anyway, he was on that staff. That's where I first met him. And then he went with Ron Meyer to New England, and he's still there after all these years. And he seems to get better with age because he's 70 years of age, and this might be his greatest job ever, right? Because how can you get better than that? You go into without a left tackle into the year?
90 pass attempts. He's been hit 3 times, Skip.
Okay. And yet you're about to go up against, think about what your challenge is now. With that offensive line up against, this is the front 4 for the Los Angeles Rams. You got Sue, who was the 2nd overall pick. Then you got Dante Fowler on the outside rushing the pass. He's the 3rd overall pick. And then you got Aaron Donald, the 13th overall pick. And then you got Michael Brockers, the 14th overall pick. So you have 4 players drafted in the top 14 in the draft going up against that mishmash here of just guys. These are just a bunch of guys over here. But you got Dante Scarnecchia, who has revitalized this whole line because what happened in that AFC Championship game against Wade Phillips? What happened in that game? Tom hung in there as long as he could, and he did drive them for a touchdown that cut the lead to 20-18. So then they had to go for 2, right? And if we could see this play, you tell me what happens on this play. There's no Dante Scarnecchia, and he drops back to pass, and he's got a bolt. How many times in these plays have you seen Tom have to roll right? That ball got tipped up and intercepted. It was a 2-point try. If we could maybe see it one more time. Watch. He's got to go. He feels like he's got to go to the right away, right? Because they're blitzing and people are coming unblocked, right? That was the moment where Bill Belichick said, we just can't do this, right?
They didn't have success all day because a lot of that.
He got sacked 4 times in that game.
Malik Jackson and Wolf, because you had Ware and Von Miller on the edges, and Wolf and Malik Jackson was pushing the collapse.
By the way,
pocket.
Tom had 2 interceptions that day and had a QBR, a grand total of 37, scale 0 to 100. So he had, by his standards, a pretty pitiful day.
Yes.
That's why Dante Scarnecchia came back out of retirement. And then what happened in last year's Super Bowl with a couple of minutes left? What happened? They're driving, I think it's 38-33 at this point. And guess who the right tackle is? He's now a Dallas Cowboy named Cameron Fleming. And Brandon Graham just powers right through him, and Tom's holding the ball just a second longer, although he really didn't have much time on that one. Brandon Graham that's just a big-time play, and he got his hand on the ball, and that's the only sack of the Super Bowl. Cameron Fleming was the right tackle, now a Dallas Cowboy backup, right? So they have now replaced him with Marcus Cannon, and all of a sudden everything is clicking. But now to the point you made for me, thank you very much. I don't know if any quarterback in history has gotten rid of the ball as quickly as Tom Brady does now, because he is, if you could say somebody has mastered the position, I think it's unmasterable. But Tom Brady's playing it at as high a level as
Only
you can play
guy
it.
probably Marino because
Maybe on release.
Yeah, because sometimes Skip his offensive line would go the whole season
Yep.
and give up single-digit sacks.
That's true.
Because it was so hard because Dan was letting it go.
But you know what? I'm going to repeat it again. Joey Bosa got so frustrated in the fourth quarter of the Chargers at Patriots playoff game, he finally turned to Tom and he said, quit throwing it so fast because it's just not fair after a while. He wears you out mentally because he's reading it so quickly. And again, we talk about Patrick Mahomes' no looks. Tom's really good at the no look. Like he doesn't lock in on a receiver.
Right.
He's looking over
He
here, and all of a
knows where he
sudden
wants to
he's
go.
coming right back.
Yeah.
And it happens so fast. It's just quick eye movement. I'm here, and then I come right back here, and Edelman is running an option route, but I can see that he's going to go left, and I'm going to come right back to him, boom, and the ball's gone. Tom's release is quick, and his brain is quick.
Skip, I think in most offensive line coaches, and most coaches will attest to this, Skip, it's easier to coach a guy that's been drafted in the later rounds because he really didn't have bad habits. See, when you get a guy in that first round, he think he knows everything. I'm a first-round pick. I'm a second-round pick, bro. What you going to teach me? But when you get an undrafted free agent, you get a fifth rounder or a fourth rounder, Skip, you're able to mold them and say, son, okay, this is the way we're going to do it here. First rounder, know he's safe. Fifth-round pick, undrafted guy. That's why Alex Gibbs, Tommy Nalen was, I think, a 6th or 7th round pick. Mark Slareth, I think, was maybe undrafted, a 12th round or something like that back in those days. Harris Swain was a defensive lineman that they moved to the offensive side of the football.
What has Mark Schlereth always told me about playing offensive line? It doesn't matter about weight room strength. It matters about leverage, angles, knowledge. It doesn't matter how ripped, cut you are, how strong you are, bench pressing. If I know how to get you off your feet, I will beat you every time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's what they know that others don't. That's what they're doing. Because I'll bet this collection, if you took their shirts off and paraded them, you'd be like, I don't know.
And the thing is,
this.
Skip, look, they know where Tom's going to be. So I can't get beat here because this is where Tom's going to be. You can beat me another place. You can run all the way around the horn, but you can't beat me here because this is where I'm vulnerable.
Well, all I know is that the Chiefs led the league in sacks, and that was the first game all year they had 0.
So I just want to know. I think Jenny want to know. And you want to know too, Healy? Yeah. So does Tom have any help?
He's got a pretty good offensive line.
Is that help?
It's worked pretty well.
Don't do that.
But this is the biggest challenge because against that front four, against Wade Phillips.
It's okay to say yes, Tom has help. It's okay. I admitted yesterday that Tom is GOAT man. GOAT man.
Okay. Does he have a lot of help at receiver? What did I tell you yesterday? We had the great Deion Sanders in here. I said he could be in a sack race with the sack around his legs and he could cover Edelman.
Let me ask you a question.
Seriously.
How many one-hand playoff catch have you seen Odell Beckham make? Because I just saw Chris Hogan make one the other night. How many of those?
How many have you seen in Chris Hogan's career like that? I don't know.
That's my point.
We don't have enough time to get
And wait, I got one last point.
Okay.
My point is Bill Belichick's defense gave up 24 fourth quarter points in 3 minutes.
Pissed the shit out of the first half.
I don't know about
Piece of shutout.
Yeah,
Different
that's
halves.
not a lot of help.
Different day. All right, the Lakers. Well, they lost again last night.
What?
But will the return of LeBron and Rondo fix their problems? We'll discuss with Chris Broussard next.
No mercy.
How about those Lakers? They were blown out last night by the Warriors behind Klay Thompson's 44 points. That wasn't a huge surprise since they were once again without LeBron and Rajon Rondo. But Luke Walton says he expects Rondo to be back on Thursday. On the other side, LeBron has been cleared to practice, but Walton said, quote, I haven't seen him do contact yet, so I don't feel as confident. The Lakers are 5-9 without both players and are currently out of the playoffs. We're joined by FS1 NBA analyst Chris Broussard. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can LeBron and Rondo fix the Lakers' problems with a return?
Well, they can't fix what they ran into last night because Boogie Cousins is fitting in. He's running the floor. He's moving the ball. And that team now, a great scorer can get an open shot every time down the floor because you're just instinctively going to double somebody and Klay will be open or Steph will be open. But as far as getting the Lakers to the point where I've said they are all season, they can beat anybody else in the West, or they're right there with OKC's and Houston's and the other top second-tier teams, yeah, I think LeBron and Rondo can help with that. What we're seeing right now is the difference between a guy or guys that can play point guard. They can bring the ball up the floor. They can initiate the offense. And guys that instinctively are point guards. LeBron, Rondo, even Lonzo, who's out now. They're instinctively point guards. Lance Stevenson, Brandon Ingram, they can bring the ball. They can dribble, so they can bring it up the floor. But the more the ball's in their hands, they don't make the right decisions. They don't make great decisions. And Lance sometimes will just lose the ball or make a silly decision or whatever. And right now, with their lack of margin for error because of the injuries, they're winning on talent. You know, Kuzma can score, Zubac can score, and
who needs to play more?
Yeah, he does. You know, and they have some talent, but the games are close, and those one little wrong decision by Lance, one little bad turnover, one little wrong decision by Ingram, that can be the difference. It was those minor things that cost them against Houston. You know, and so.
Oh, you mean not fouling on the catch of the ball and letting them get off?
Well, that's what. But even letting them get back, letting them, you know what I mean? Letting them get back in the game. It's little things like that that cost you. And look, they're in 9th place, but they're only 4 games out of 3rd. So I do believe when LeBron and Rondo get back, and I think LeBron will be back against Phoenix. That's Sunday. Okay. That's what I'm predicting.
That was what I said from the start.
He said we don't do scrubs, but
somebody said we're doing the Timberwolves on Thursday, but
I
guess you got overruled by others in the brain.
Yeah, Rich Paul overruled me. Rich Paul overruled me.
Okay.
Yes. I think they can. They can get in the playoffs, and then, as long as you can avoid Golden State.
Right. That's your only hope. That's what you hope. Is to avoid Golden State in the first round. You don't want to see them in the first round. And like you said, there's nothing he can do about that. If the man gonna make his first 10 threes, what you gonna do about that? Steph Curry had an off night. Kevin Durant was quiet. And then here come Clay, 27 minutes. And you know nobody.
But you know what I do love about them real quick before you go? Kevin said after the game, we just sold out for Clay because we saw how hot he was. So they don't care. Like that. How many teams in the history of this league have just said, oh, it's your turn tonight. We'll just give you the basketball. And they just fed him like it was embarrassing how they fed him.
But nobody can heat up like this kid. I mean, Steph got greater range, but Skip, nobody can heat up like this kid. I'm talking about no dribble. Just catch and shoot the ball and release it. Nobody can get hot like this kid.
He shot no free throws. It's hard to
44 points, no free throws.
In 27 minutes.
The anti-Harden. That's really what he is.
Look at where they were with LeBron and look at where they are without him. So I believe he can get them back into that 4th. I thought they could be 3rd or 4th at the beginning of the season. I still believe that because some of the games that they're losing because of their decision-making down the stretch. And again, last night, they missed 16 free throws. Again, 22 or 38. Now, the other night, Skip, in 4th quarter and overtime, I think they were perfect, 18 or 19, maybe 20 or 21, and shoot from the free throw line. But this will cause you to get beat. You miss this many free throws, that's free points that you're giving away. Well, LeBron come back, but he's just showing you. I'm the GOAT. I know James Harden is having
showing you he's the GOAT by sitting out.
Hold on, wait a minute,
man.
Wait a minute.
Michael Jordan didn't sit out.
Wait a minute, Skip.
He played every game.
He broke his foot.
Well, that was.
Hey, how many games he missed?
Well, he broke his foot.
Okay, he tore his groin. He hurt it growing. Now,
did he?
Anyway, as I was
thought
saying,
he tweeted the next day. Dodged a bullet back in no time.
He did.
What is the problem? Huh?
I think he heard it pop.
He must have.
And he thought, uh-oh.
Right.
Well, then why would you tweet that the next
4
day?
weeks?
After you got the MRI.
That's the difference between, 4 months and 4 weeks.
But anyway, before I was interrupted between you two guys over here, Mr. Pick the Game Guru, Chris Broussard, they were in the 4th slot. Now, when it's all said and done, we're going to be in the 3rd or 4th again. I really believe that. And when you fill out that ballot, you make sure you put 1 by LeBron James.
Well, it is set up for him to make a run at MVP. And maybe he's just letting this linger a little bit.
He ain't letting it linger.
Well, I don't get, you know what, I got several observations here. But number one, Lonzo Ball, but they're going to miss Lonzo because he was really starting to click. He had 10 assists in 20 minutes at Houston. Then he just rolls his ankle over. I've seen LeBron do that 5 times, roll his ankle over like that, just like that. And Lonzo's gone 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he probably tore some of the.
He got little ankles.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Wearing those big ballers.
Yeah.
Maybe.
He got the boy. And he got the
wearing I couldn't
he
tell
got the
what they were.
orthopedics on.
I don't know if that's what they
Not
are.
enough support.
It's not a good
They're
sign.
low top.
If that's the thing.
I don't know. But
look
again,
into this.
I'm trying to do a positive negative here because LeBron is Iron Man. You've said this before.
Yeah.
He'll roll his ankle. He did against Indiana in the playoffs last year. I said, nope. He just shakes it off and kind of he'll jog a little bit, and all of a sudden he's full speed again. And I say, how do you do that? That's not normal. That's not mortal. That's not human, right?
Right.
But in this case, so the groin, I don't know if it popped and it's going on for a month. I don't really get it. Maybe he had business to attend to. I don't know. He's.
Don't try to slip that in there.
I don't know.
Skip that. No, stop. I saw what you tried to do. Talk about maybe he had a business. He had a. You see how you trying to do this?
Another screening,
he's chasing Michael
He ain't
B.
chasing
Jordan.
nobody.
Yeah.
He hadn't
He's
helped
got
it.
shows to produce. They're everywhere. He's got.
We already got them in the can.
You know, it's early.
We
in the
got like 7,
basketball
8
season.
shows already in the can.
7 or 8.
Yeah, already in the
When were
can.
those done?
We ain't even worried about
God.
it.
Okay, now back to Saturday night. Again, it was a crucible. It was a fire test for these young Lakers to see who can be LeBron's supporting cast, who can be his co-star. I'm going way out there on co-star. But again, I've been highly impressed by Kyle Kuzma until Saturday night because I thought that was a pivotal night for young Kyle Kuzma because I watched the whole game at Houston. Again, James Harden is like James, you want to talk about having no help. He's down no Capella, no CP3. Eric Gordon had just come back that night, and he looks a little sluggish so far, not quite back in game shape. And the point is, Kyle Kuzma goes off and scores 20 in the first quarter at Houston. That'll work.
24 the first half.
Okay? And he winds up with 30 going into the fourth quarter. And then what happened? Nothing happened. He completely disappeared. He scored 2 points in the fourth quarter, and he made 2 free throws at 6:23 left, and he took 1 shot. He missed a 3 at 3:20. Just disappeared. And guess what he did in overtime? The game is just on a silver platter. They should have won this game.
Yes.
They're talented
and that would have been
enough.
2 really good
I know,
wins
2 good
back-to-back.
wins with Oklahoma City and Houston. And what happens in the overtime? Kyle Kuzma goes 5 minutes and takes no shots. Now, P.J. Tucker is getting up into him, and it's hard. But you got to be better. And the last play of the game, it's an inbounds pass called for Kyle Kuzma, and he sort of fumbled it, couldn't hang on to it, and it goes out of bounds. Well, that's not help for LeBron. That's not that guy. Are you ready to take that next step? No.
I'll put some of that on Kuzma, no doubt. But that's what we were talking about, the decision-making. A LeBron, a Rondo, even Alonzo would have got
helped.
him shots.
I know.
I think in the first half, early on, Houston probably took him lightly. We're going to run over these guys.
Yep.
Then in the second half, and certainly the fourth quarter and overtime, P.J. Tucker, to your point, they got in them and said, all right, let's defend. And a Brandon Ingram, because Kuzma's not the guy you can just give him the ball and he'll create his own stuff, bring it up court.
Right.
That's why he works with LeBron, because he's catch and shoot, or he can score without too many dribbles. But when you don't have that guy that can get him the open looks, Ingram and Lance, I mean, that's their backup point guard.
So what do you make of, you reported it the last time, forget which day you were on the show last week, about you had talked to Rich Paul. In fact, I think he had contacted
that
you
morning.
That morning. And he contacted several other media outlets to say, time out. We're making this decision, not the Lakers. What do you make of all that? It seemed almost angry.
And Rich, and when I talked to him, it wasn't angry, but he told me, remember I said he would be playing if it were the playoffs. What I make of it is LeBron, last week at least, was 75, 80%, where you could play if you had to. But right now it's like, look, it's the regular season. Like we're ninth, but we're the West is so stacked that we're still in the race. And he's trying to get to 100%, which I do think is wise at this stage of his career. I think that's what this is, Skip. He's 16th year, all that wear and tear. I don't think this
was he feeling pressured by Luke or Magic to come back before he was ready?
I don't think so, because I got to be honest, I don't think that organization would pressure Luke.
I don't either.
I really don't. I think they let him do what he wants to do. And they are adamant that he will be back when he's 100%. Playoffs, we'll play at 75,
Guess
80.
what? These are our drums. We beat them when we want to.
Oh, interesting.
That's how we do over here.
Really? How you do? Well,
We,
I was
us.
wondering about you on Saturday night because I noticed Rondo made the trip in street clothes and was there on the sideline for support and coaching and inspiration. And I don't know why, but LeBron didn't make any of the road trips.
I thought Luke Walton did a very good job of explaining that LeBron James would not be making any road trip.
Why is
so therefore, we would not have to make those announcements ourselves.
Really?
Thank you.
Well, why wouldn't you be there
because
to inspire your young
we get
teammates?
home getting treatment.
You're getting treatment?
Yes, on a Saturday night. We
on
get
a Saturday night?
Yeah, we're getting it round the clock.
You're in the sauna?
No.
Enjoying that fight.
We in the hyperbaric chamber. We getting our physio. We getting this work in.
Yeah.
So when we come back, we're going to be on a mission.
Yeah, but you're puffing on a big cigar.
Okay, we had a glass of vino. Why you all following us on IG anyway?
I don't know. I don't. I hear about it.
You don't hear about nothing.
Do you think he's setting it up for that MVP? Because he can't miss many more games just to win the MVP.
Realistically.
It has to be something so spectacular.
Oh, he's coming back.
That he takes.
I'm just warning you, those teams beneath you, even though you're in the 9th spot, but 10, 11, 12, 13, whew, they could all get hot.
But see, here's what I think. I think the Clippers are coming out. They've lost 5 of 6, I think 8 of their last 14, and they just don't have that much time.
Okay.
I think they're falling out. I don't think Minnesota is going to get in the race. Right there.
So
I don't think New Orleans. You think New Orleans? I don't think New Orleans will.
That's why New Orleans is going to do the right thing.
But AD's out now.
New Orleans is going to do the right thing.
Okay.
They got an injured player. We got an injured player. We'll swap them.
For the record, just for the record, when you do come back against Phoenix, then all of a sudden you're going to hit the road, even though the first game's it's kind of a home away from home game. It's Clippers. But you go at Clippers, at Warriors, at Pacers, at Celtics, at Sixers. You better be in MVP mode at that point, because if you aren't, it's going to be a battle.
But you know what LeBron does to the East.
Okay. I know what he used to do.
Boston's going to be you're right. Indy, Boston, I think they can beat Philly.
We
I
still
don't
got
know.
We still got a
Philly
kingdom.
Embiid, he looks up to LeBron. So don't you get that impression? He looks up to LeBron so much. I think
he
there's
is
a little
now
advantage
he
there
is
for
now
LeBron.
the best player in the East, but that will be.
Hold on.
Interesting.
You just won't give Kawhi.
Who?
You know who?
Who?
And Giannis. What about
That guy,
Giannis?
number 2?
I think Embiid is. He was really good last night.
What about old Claw?
Huh?
Old Claw.
Who? You know. I don't know who you're talking about.
Skip, look, you got to let it go, Skip.
I can't let it go.
And
What you
Kyrie
mean?
Irving's been balling lately.
Oh,
He has. He was balling last night.
It's not the points. It's the assists.
Right.
We
never seen him do that.
No.
What do you have, 11?
But see, that's what happened. What did he do, Skip? You notice what happened? He made a phone call about 10 days ago to somebody. Don't pretend like you don't know what I'm talking about.
He used LeBron James as a prop
There you
to
go.
send a message to his teammates, you better bow down to me because I didn't.
You know what, Skip? You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
No, he did.
Will you give LeBron?
I'm just telling you.
Will you
facts.
give the Godfather his credit?
If he wins MVP this year, I'd give him a lot of credit.
No.
Set up.
Let's
Here
just
we
get
go.
him back first.
He be back.
Let's get him
When he
back.
comes back, I got to talk to him. I'll call him today.
Okay.
I love how you refer to LeBron as we and
us.
we with the Lakers.
Yeah.
It's a partnership.
Oh, yeah. Me, Bron, Rich, Randy, Mav. Yeah.
You're in on the decisions.
You grew up with
Savannah?
I'm so glad to have an insider.
I knew you grew up in
with us.
Akron.
We sit around the table, have no vino.
Let us
What
know
you
the
think?
latest. Shannon.
Wait, you went to his
Appreciate-
wife's school, Savannah State. I forgot about that.
Chris, thank you for being here as always. All right, why was Todd Gurley a no-show on Sunday? We'll discuss that next.
No mercy.
Well, the Rams are headed to the Super Bowl, but it was behind one of the worst games of Todd Gurley's career. He had a touchdown, but only had 4 carries for 10 yards total. Gurley's been battling a knee injury, but he didn't use that as an excuse. He said after the game, quote, "I was sorry as hell today." Yesterday, Sean McVay said that Gurley is healthy and added, quote, "I should have done a better job of getting Todd more involved." All right, we're joined by FS1 NFL analyst Sean Merriman. But first, Shannon, what is going on here?
I believe Todd Gurley's still hurt. There's a reason why they signed C.J. Anderson. And when Todd Gurley dropped those passes, as a guy that's played hurt, those were passes that he dropped because he's thinking about his injury and not concentrating on the football. I've been there. And as soon as he dropped the passes, I know something is going on. This is why they signed C.J. Anderson. This is why C.J. Anderson got more carries than Todd Gurley, because if you remember, Skip, at the start of that Cowboys game, even though Gurley started, C.J. got the lion's share of the carries. And then to close the game out, who did they hand the ball to? C.J. Anderson. Now, that's your bell cow. Todd Gurley is your bell cow, who you paid a king's ransom, the highest running back, paid the highest salary for a running back in NFL history. And he's on the sideline When the rubber needs to meet the road and you need to close the game out, and a guy that you had just scooped up off the couch 2 weeks ago is carrying the mail, that lets me know that, look, everybody's saying the right thing. Todd is healthy. He's fine, blah, 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 because I'm not trying to let the Patriots know anything was going on. But if you think Todd Gurley is 100% healthy, 100% healthy running backs don't spend the bulk of their time riding a stationary bike behind the bench in an NFC championship game. I'm going to leave it at that.
Your thoughts?
You know, I give Todd Gurley credit because he easily could have said, my knee is hurt and I'm not performing well, but he took all the blame. You know, I take it back in 2007 when we played the Colts in the playoffs, when I was with the Chargers, and LT went down. His knee, he had an MCL. He went down, he couldn't play. Michael Turner had to come in and win the game for us. He was the backup running back. He came and won the game for us. Nobody really talks about that as much because we won the game. We played the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Nobody talks about that. The main goal in that game, and Sean McVay made the right decision in keeping C.J. Anderson in the game, do what's best for the team because he had the hot hand, and as long as he can run between the tackles and get those extra yards that we need, he don't need to be Todd Gurley. He just need to do enough for us to win this game. He made the right call. He went with the flow of the game. Todd Gurley is a great running back, but he can do more things than run out of, just take the ball and run out of the backfield. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can do multiple things. C.J. Anderson's not that back. C.J. Anderson, like you said, was brought in to do just enough for them to win the game, and no one would ever bring it up again because they won. If they lost, it'd be a totally different story.
Okay, so help me out here. That year you got to the AFC Championship game at Foxborough, and I always heard Norv Turner wasn't happy with LT because he wouldn't go back in, right? But you're saying he was really hurt.
Oh, he was hurt. He had, I think, a grade 2 of what it was. And, as a running back having an MCL, your knee is unstable. It's just wobbling all around. He couldn't plant and turn.
Especially the way LT plays now.
Yeah.
LT's not a power straight ahead.
So
LT can
you guys didn't think he didn't come through?
Well, we went into the next game, into the AFC Championship. All of us hurt. Myself, Antonio Gates, LT, Phillip Rivers played with that partially torn ACL that he had surgery on the week before just to play in the game. We all walked in that game hurt. But nobody really talks about it as much because we won. We got to the next level. But we remember Michael Turner coming into the game, his teammates coming to the game and winning it for us and doing exactly what he needed to do for us to progress to the next level.
At Indy.
At Indy, correct.
Okay, I got you. But you lost, obviously, in the
yeah.
So Brady gets another break. They're all hurt, right? Here we go again.
It happens.
I'm not so sure Todd Gurley is as hurt as you think he is. He obviously was hurt, but all of a sudden, I don't think we've seen anything quite like this happen. Starting on December 16th, C.J. Anderson turned into Nick Foles. Am I right? He turned into the Nick Foles of running backs because he steps right in for him at Arizona, the regular season game, and he goes 167. That's a lot of yards, man.
For a guy that got off his couch on Wednesday.
I know. Right. And then they come home and close it out against San Francisco, and he goes for 132. That'll work. And then against my team, to your point, Gurley starts, but right away it's CJ, and he goes for a big 123 that just killed my team, just ripped their guts out. I still can't get over it. I don't know how you do that, but whatever. and then he got the lion's share of the carries at New Orleans. But to me, I know you're looking at it like you're trying to guard your injury and you're not focused on the football.
Yes.
It's also possible that Todd Gurley's just like stressing, man, like he's pressing and stressing because he knows I better catch this ball because if I don't, I'm going to lose snaps because this guy's coming in because he's really good. And I keep telling you, CJ doesn't look the part because he's a little butterball, but and he gained some weight on the couch, and it doesn't matter.
Looks like he gained some weight from the Cowboys game.
Seriously.
He did. But we got this thing in football. We always say, fresh legs, right? Yeah. Whenever somebody come in and they haven't been playing and their body's not beat up from the season, I think that, it's almost funny that Sean McVay might have done something here in bringing fresh legs or running back this late into the game in the playoffs because he is fresh. He's capable of going out here and touching the ball in case something happens. You got a running back there that is more than capable. He's been sitting around. Playoff experience.
Okay, exactly. I got it, but how many times can you find that guy on the couch on December 16th?
Not often.
And again, are you taking advantage of yet another John Gruden mistake?
Exactly.
Right?
And guess what, Skip? C.J. Anderson had big games against the Patriots. You remember that Sunday night game?
Absolutely.
Do I? He ended.
He did.
It was 30-24 in the snow, and the quarterback was Brock Osweiler.
Yep.
And it goes back and forth, and Brady actually played pretty well in that game against Wade Phillips.
Right.
But in overtime, CJ got loose up the left sideline for the touchdown that ended the game. So here we go again. So you don't think Sean McVay's thinking, I might need to ride that horse?
Yeah, well, I'm sure they'll play. The dimension that Todd Gurley gives them that CJ doesn't is his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, the ability to get down the field to catch the ball. Now, I don't think Gurley had a whole bunch of carries. I think he had one. After that touchdown, he had one more carry.
Yeah.
But he played, I think, 13, 14 more snaps, Skip, but that was to get him on the field. Maybe they were going to use him as a decoy to make you focus on him because you're not really focusing on CJ in the passing game. So it's just hard for me to believe that the man has just stepped off a cliff like this here because I don't see it. I think he's injured.
I would like to look at two quick plays that I saw Todd Gurley run, one against my Dallas Cowboys, one against the New Orleans Saints. The first one went 35 yards for a touchdown. Tell me he looks hurt on this play because he looked like Todd Gurley to me when he broke loose. This is against my Cowboys. Tell me, do you not see the burst? Look at this. Look what he did to my safety. Xavier Woods. That just looks like Todd Gurley to me.
But Skip, you know what? When you're hurt like that, you can always show spurts, right? Even on that touchdown run, he scored against.
Okay, let's look at that one. We got that one too. This is from I think 6 yards. 6 yards TD, and he got to the goal line. I mean, I don't know. That just looked like Todd Gurley.
You know, it spurts.
Looked explosive.
You know, it spurts. Even when at times when I hurt my knee, I can go out and get a sack or two. I just couldn't play well for 60 plays.
Right.
You know, and he can go and do something spectacular when it's needed, but he can't go out and sustain, across the board 25, 30 snaps. You know, and that's across the board. That's anybody who's hurt. You can do what's necessary when needed, but there's no way he can go and line up after getting, tackled a few times and line back up and then go cut off of that leg again. If you get put in the backfield in his situation, what he did, of course he can show a spurt and get in the end zone. He needed it.
I bet we're going to see a lot of CJ.
Yeah. The mental side of it, too.
Yeah, CJ, big game back. Big game. Have big games. That's what some guys just have better games against other guys, but Todd Gurley's going to he has a week off. I don't believe he'll do a whole lot this week.
I don't either.
They're going to put the game plan in, so everything, once you get to Atlanta, will be a dress rehearsal. You're just fine-tuning. CJ going to get his snaps, but Todd Gurley's going to be a factor.
I think it's highly possible that CJ will get the bulk of the carries in this game, and he will not be a Ram next year. They'll just go right back to riding the other horse.
Wow.
Well, I don't know. It's just going to be hard to keep him.
I wouldn't keep him for a whole season. No.
It's been fun to see, though.
How much?
Exhilarating.
How much you got over there? I'll stay for a couple of million.
Yeah, how much?
I'd rather stay here because, look, he knows his role. He going to get X amount of carries, nice little situation, as opposed to going somewhere else. Because everybody ain't going to love you like they love you at St. Louis and at the Rams.
He acknowleded he understood his role in the interview with Aaron Andrews. He was so
and they got good food out. They got good cuisine out here.
They got good food
in L.A.
Go back to the weight. You guys are being so hard on the guy.
That ain't going to help his weight. I tell you that. Roscoe's ain't going to help.
Pregnancy weight because, he's expecting a baby.
He ain't pregnant.
It affects everyone. That's what he said in the interview. I
CJ greedy. I know CJ when he wasn't expected in Denver, and he looked the same way.
Okay, fine.
You can't eat a whole chicken.
Excuse.
He's like, but I don't eat no chicken. The whole chicken?
No.
Either way, Sean, good to see you. Appreciate your time always. Have Skip's Cowboys fix their offense?
Nope.
Oh,
nope.
Okay. It's been said already.
Nope.
We're going to dig deeper next.
No mercy.
The Cowboys' big move after losing in the playoffs to the Rams was firing offensive coordinator Scott Linehan on Friday. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys had the 22nd ranked offense this season, averaging about 21 points a game. Reports say Dallas could promote QB coach Kellen Moore to offensive coordinator, but Jason Garrett could end up calling the plays. Shannon, is this a good move by the Cowboys? I'm going to let you hit this one first.
No. Skip, I think Scott Linehan did a good job. I don't think he did a great job, but I think he
you loved him because he was no good.
Whoa, Skip, that's unnecessary. Hold on, I thought it was my turn to talk.
It is. I want your
I just had to put that in perspective.
No, you put it in perspective when it's your turn and my turn right now. And I think he did an okay job, Skip. He did win two division titles. He did win calling the plays, have Zeke Elliott, who's a two-time rushing champ. Skip, how exotic you going to be when you're a run-based football team? We're limited. I still say Dak Prescott is far from where you think he's going to be transcendent. You think it's going to be
I didn't say transcendent. I just said he's going to be really good.
Okay, but he ain't really good right now. And that's what Scott Linehan worked.
He just won the division. He won a playoff game. I don't know what more you could ask of him at this stage and age. What's
we
not
do.
to love?
So all you do is win the division. Blake Bortles won the division.
All you do is win the division. It's hard.
Blake Bortles
I
won
sound like Andy Reid. Hey, we got you.
Oh, yeah, you see?
You did. At
Blake
least you
Bortles-
called yourself out on
This
it.
is a young football team.
Blake
It's the
Bor-
youngest playoff team.
Blake Bortles won the division last year on a young football team.
Yeah.
What we think of him. But anyway, before I was so
I think he torched Bill Belichick's defense.
Before I was
this
so
year.
rudely interrupted, Skip
Okay.
has a habit of that. Hold on. I could see you fire Scott Linehan and you go out, you go get a Cliff Kingsbury. You're going to get you the next Sean McVay. You're going to get a young Josh McDaniels, somebody of that ilk. You're going to stay in-house, Kellen Moore, and possibly Jason Garrett's going to call plays. When was the last time? Man, you remember that game Jason Garrett called? Woo! Boy, he had them Cowboys fly. Boy, Jason Garrett called a masterpiece. Said no one ever. But now you want Jason Garrett go call. You see what happened, Skip Bayless? See, this is when Jerry opens his mouth. We some different cats. We never gonna be the same. You're the same. Because you got the same place. Try to tell you. Jerry, you did all that talking, all them bumping them gums. Got a big old yacht. Got some time to spend on it. Atlanta ain't got no water anyway. Think about that, Skip Bayless. I tried to tell you, you got all happy. We different. Jerry said we some different cats. We can compete with everybody. No, you can't. You on the couch.
By the way, his yacht is so special you can take it on dry land. You didn't know that, did you? You can just take it across the country.
It might come with wheels.
Yeah.
It's bigger than a football field.
Yeah. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Skip Bayless, because you've been.
I haven't even said
You
anything.
no, I said you ought to be ashamed of yourself because since we've been on air, this is what you've been recommended. This is what you've hoped for.
I have.
I know, and I don't like it.
So don't tell me scapegoat because it's been 3 years of me saying no, no, no more. It's too conservative. It's too milquetoast. It's too vanilla. It's too predictable. It's too uncreative.
How
It's
creative?
like-
Okay, let me ask you this. Before you go any further, how creative could you have been? You said, look at who he's throwing to. How creative could you have been before you got Amari Cooper? You said Dez was on his last legs. You say you love Jason Witten, bless his heart, he means well,
Yep.
but he couldn't run anymore. But that's what Scott Linehan was supposed to diagram plays for?
Yeah. Well, while Jason was on his last legs, Dak was on his first legs. And you got to let Dak run the football occasionally. You don't want to wear him out and put him in harm's way. But he's a 240-pound man who can take it and dish it. And every time he ran the football, good things happened.
Where's the exoticness in that? I thought that was done.
Well, that's pretty easy to do. Just call some zone read plays.
No, they
read
want
options.
No.
Yeah.
They want somebody to come up with an offense like what you see with Sean McVay,
Okay.
what you see with Sean Payton, what you see with Josh McDaniels.
Okay, well, guess what Jason Garrett just did? This is my 2 cents from a distance, but he told Jerry Jones, I believe, behind closed doors, I can be Sean McVay. You just got to let me loose.
No.
Give me the reins.
Hold on, Skip. He came out and did his press conference and said everybody's going to be back. He said Scott Linehan was going to be back. Stephen Jones said, hold up. We hadn't made any decisions on coaching moves. And now all of a sudden he had to walk that back. It wasn't no, he went in there and talked about, Jerry, I can do this.
Well, maybe he had been told 1 minute you're going to have to take him back.
Well, hold on. Wait a minute, Skip Bayless. I thought you said, hold on. I thought you said Jason Garrett said he coaching his team. Again, Jerry's coaching his team like I said it before.
Okay, I'm going to say this for the first time. I'm a big fan of Kellen Moore's.
Are you?
His father was his high school coach, and he tells stories of he was drawing up plays when he was 5 years old. I think he could have some Sean McVay, Sean Payton, Andy Reid.
Well, let's hope he a better play caller than quarterback in the NFL.
Okay. Well, he wasn't bad.
He was terrible.
He wasn't terrible.
Okay, what's worse than bad?
Well,
terrible.
I don't know.
What's worse than terrible? Awful.
He was really good at
God
Florida
awful.
State.
College career.
Yeah. Was he not good?
In college?
Yeah.
There are a lot of guys being good in college.
Okay.
I know a guy that was good, great in college. Don't we, Skip?
Who? I don't know where we're going.
He
with
might be playing baseball now.
Oh, he might be with the Mets. he might be in the big leagues. And he might make you look foolish again because you said he couldn't play baseball.
He can't.
How can he be a Met in the big leagues?
I can be a Met.
Yeah.
I can be Mr. Met.
Oh, really?
okay.
Well, you could be Mr. Met. I will give you that.
Maybe that.
But the point is, Dak Prescott has a connection to Kellen Moore. They're close. I don't know if I can go to soulmate close.
They close in age. That's the only thing they close in.
30, right?
I think
30 years
he's
old?
30
How
years
old
of
that?
age.
25?
Yeah, 26
Six? I
maybe.
think he's 26 now.
But
They done been lead 3 years.
Dak Prescott's just made his second Pro Bowl. Who knew?
Man, look at Skip. You know what? He the 17th alternate.
I know he is. I can't take that one.
Oh, yeah, you got to take that one.
I can't.
So who all dropped out? So let's see. Drew chose not to go. Jared Goff can't go.
I think Mitchell Trubisky's going.
He's going after Mitchell Trubisky. Hold on. I know Mitchell Trubisky ain't make the Pro Bowl. He was alternate before that.
At least they let Mitchell Trubisky run some, right?
Because he can run better than
Matt Nagy. I mean, at least he calls his own plays, so that's the new way of the
Matt
world.
Ryan? Matt Ryan must be didn't want to go.
I don't know what happened. Nobody wants to play.
They don't.
The point is, going into this football season, 14 of the 32 head coaches called their own plays. So now Jason Garrett's saying, oh, well, we'll give Kellen Moore the title of offensive coordinator, but you know who's going to coordinate, game plan, call plays? It's going to be Jason Garrett.
14 of them are good. He ain't good.
Okay, well, I don't.
But Skip, you ain't told me. I want you to tell me the game plan that you remember that Jason Garrett called, and you say that's a work of art. That's a masterpiece.
I do give Jason this credit. He showed me more gambler this year than I thought. He went for it.
That's what Jerry showed you.
Okay,
Jerry the one that told you he wanted him to go for it on fourth down and criticized him on.
Do you think Jerry has direct connection and contact with Jason during the game? I don't know.
He tell him before the game.
Before the game, just go for it?
Yep.
Of course, it was Jason Garrett's final call through the fourth quarter, third to fourth quarter break, with the game on the line, down 8 points at the Ram 35-yard line, 4th and short. They chose together, he and Linehan, but Jason signed off on the call to give it to Ezekiel Elliott straight up the gut and run him right into Donald and Sue. That's a really creative, smart call, and it went backwards.
Okay,
right?
You said he signed off on it. Mm-hmm. Why didn't he draw up something better?
I don't know.
Don't he got something in the playbook?
I don't trust this. I don't like it. I don't like the direction. They should let Kellen Moore have the offense, but they don't have the guts to do that. He's not one of their guys. He's too young. He was obviously a former. It seems like just a year ago he was the backup quarterback, and now I don't think they would trust the whole offense.
So let me ask you a question. When this goes nowhere fast,
yep,
and I believe it won't go anywhere, then what are we going to do with Jason Garrett?
Well, you know how I feel about him. They should have started over, started fresh, because Dak Prescott has been rising above Scott Linehan and Jason Garrett.
Stop it.
He has been winning in spite of Scott Linehan and Jason Garrett.
They've been winning in spite of him.
Nope, in spite of.
Top 5 defense, top 3 scoring defense.
Yeah. And what happens? What happened against Green Bay and then against the Rams? In the 2 out of the last 3 playoff games, the defense did not show up in the first half in either game. You fall behind 21-3 to Aaron Rodgers. You fall behind 20-7 to Jared Goff.
Okay.
Really?
Well, I'm trying to figure out why you only got 7 and why you only got 3. Because was Dak not playing?
Boy, Dak just fought his back end off the second
half.
I
want to know why you keep fouting.
He got you all the way back to down 8. How impressive was that? He threw for 266 yards. I thought he was really good.
You could have played from the front.
He had a better QBR than Jared Goff. So he's played against Jared Goff 3 times now. He outplayed him all 3 times. Go look at the QBRs. All 3 times.
He took them L's.
Okay. Well, but it wasn't his fault. He can't play
defense.
You know what? Next year they should let Dak go both ways and play safety.
Let
him
we
play
lay
safety.
blame here. Yep. That's the difference in our show. We lay blame here.
Oh, do we?
And I place it solely at the feet of him.
Well, all I know is Dak Prescott won me 6 cases of Diet Mountain Dew this year.
And you about to give it all back.
6?
Well, he won me a case this year, too, already in 2019.
How?
Won me a case.
Yeah. Oh, he did.
Sure did.
But then you got canceled out by Tom Brady, and now you're down 1.
You can't bet against
Tom Brady has cost you 3 cases already this year.
I'm going to get it.
You're going to get it back on the Super Bowl?
Yep.
Well, that means you're going to have to take the Rams. Good luck with that.
Speaking of a different quarterback.
How else are you going to do it?
He's going to try every which way. Is it time for Drew Brees to call it quits? He's just 1 year younger than Tom. We'll discuss next.
No mercy.
Drew Brees said after the Saints' tough loss in Sunday's NFC Championship game that he's, quote, pretty positive about coming back for his 19th season. Brees just turned 40 and added, quote, I plan on being here next year and making another run at it. Shannon, what do you expect from Brees next year?
Skip, unless he was injured, we're seeing the beginning of the end. It looked like the last month and a half of the season, Skip, he fell off a cliff. 6 starts going back to the Cowboys, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He looked 40-plus on Sunday. And the thing is, he was just as well protected as Tom Brady. Ingram and Kamara ran the football just as well as Michelle, James White, and Rex Burkhead did the entire season.
Not Sunday, but for the season.
For the season.
Yes, I agree.
on 10 yards, on 10 plus yard passes down the field. First 11 games, he was 65% skip, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The last 6 games, which is 5 because he missed the last game of the season in the playoff, 50% completion, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. If you watch Sunday's game, if you watch the last month and a half of the season, if you can honestly say, even if you're the most devout, the most diehard Saints fan, if you can look at the last 6 weeks of the season and say Drew Brees is the exact same quarterback, you're fooling yourself because he's not. And you're starting to see it right before your eyes. Just because you want something doesn't mean it's going to happen. Drew Brees did not look good after the first quarter, and he hadn't looked good in a very long time, in a month and a half. Those are facts. So unless he's injured, you're starting to see the decline of Drew Brees.
I like Drew Brees a lot, but I cannot disagree with everything you just said. And it's rare I can point to one play as the beginning of the end, but I got to go back to the end of the Dallas Cowboy game that Thursday night on Fox. And this is the most shocking play of the year to me. This knocked me over because I didn't see this coming because, remember, my guy Dak had just lost the football.
Right.
And Drew Brees had the football, and he did this. What? He threw it right to Jordan Lewis.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, can we at least hold him to a field goal? Because you just thought Drew Brees, who's been exceptional, he's been Brady-esque in those situations. I thought he would drive him down at least for the tying field goal. It was 13-10. I was praying for overtime. I don't actually pray for these things, but I'm just saying that as a figure of speech.
Right.
I'm hoping for overtime because that's the best, that'd be the best case scenario. Okay. Well, then that happened. And he throws a little sidearm pass right to Jordan Lewis, the nickelback. And it took me like 15 minutes to process what I just saw.
Right.
Because that's not what Drew Brees does.
Right.
And from that moment forward, it's been not Drew Brees that we came, because I was pushing him for MVP because I can show you the numbers.
Yeah.
He was sensational up to that moment. And from that moment forward, he didn't fall completely off the cliff, but he was hanging on by his fingernails.
Yeah.
Right? Just hanging on because I couldn't recognize him after that. And for long stretches of the game against Nick Foles and then Sunday against the Rams, I didn't exactly know who he was.
Exactly.
He didn't look right. Did he get hurt? Did his shoulder get hurt?
Right.
He's a smallish guy. Did he get beat up? Did he get knocked around? I don't know. Like you say, he's well protected, but he gets hit sometimes, and he's about 6 feet tall.
I think he was the second least sacked quarterback in all of football.
Okay.
So he's protected. He can run the ball, so he doesn't have to rely on him just throwing the ball, throw.
Okay.
Skip, he hasn't looked the same.
And I will bet you, as we speak, Sean Payton is somewhere thinking he hasn't looked the same. Sean Payton is thinking, gee, at some point I'm going to have to tell him he has to go home.
Yeah. And
I don't know when that is. You want that to be handled perfectly. You want Drew to be able to say, I need to go home.
Right. There's no perfect situation when the player wants to continue to play, but as an organization and a head coach, you start to see decline, and you want him to go away. That's not going to be perfect. You like to see a guy do like a John Elway. You know what? Obviously, the situation was made easier. John won the Super Bowl. But you like to see.
Yeah, but you could have done something no one's ever done, and that's win 3 straight Super Bowls. And I thought John Elway would try that. And he said, nope, I'm too beat up. I'm done.
I'm done. So that's what you like to see.
His fire had gone out.
Yep.
He had done all that he thought he could do.
Yeah, he robbed me. He needed to pay me some money.
Really?
Yeah, he robbed me of an opportunity to get to another Super Bowl. I lost endorsements because of that.
Okay, but you went somewhere else.
I know. Okay for yourself.
But I had to stay. I was there another year.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you had one lost year because he just quit.
No, I got hurt. I broke my collarbone.
Oh, you hit your collarbone. Are you suggesting John Elway quit on you? Is that what you're saying?
Now, you know what? Quit is a harsh word. Let's just say he chose not to come back.
Oh,
if he doesn't have his heart in it, then you don't want it back anyway.
I wanted it back.
Okay.
I don't care about his heart. I need his body there.
I believe Tom Brady will play 3 more football seasons, but at some point, Tom is going to have to say, you know what? This is it. This is my last year. And I hope he can go out with a last hurrah where it's clear this is happening. And they're going to have a successor in place.
Still, for me, but don't you want to go out leaving something to the fans? Man, that joker could still play.
Yeah.
He could have still played. You don't want a guy like, man, that joker, he was on fumes. And they had to drag him across the line.
Okay, but Tom Brady is not on fumes.
No, I'm just saying. That's what you want.
I got it. It looks like Drew Brees could start to be on fumes now.
I don't know. I ain't going nowhere. I might be up here, Skip Bayless. I'll forget all what I wanted to say.
Huh?
Wait, what?
My debate. I ain't leaving.
We'll let you know.
Hey, Skip, I might forget my train of thought. I'm like, what I wanted to say. He in my ear telling me what. Yeah, that right there. I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. Well, you got your puppet master.
There you go, Skip.
Steve Owens, right?
Steve Owens.
Yeah. He could tell you. We could
work well together.
He could tell you line by line. Say this.
Tom Brady and Josh McDaniel.
Oh,
yeah,
what a
we got a great
dynamic
relationship.
duo. Carmelo Anthony end up here in LA with LeBron. That'd be an interesting duo. We'll discuss next.
No mercy.
Time for our final topic of the day. ESPN reports the Rockets will trade Carmelo Anthony to the Bulls. He is not expected to play a game for Chicago, and they will waive or trade him before February's trade deadline. Reports also say the Lakers are interested in Melo if he is available on waivers. Shannon, do you expect Melo to play this year?
Yeah. Somebody will convince him. Somebody will convince themselves, oh, we can work him in our system. Now, this is what happened to Carmelo, Skip, over the last year and a half. He went to OKC. That didn't work out. They traded him to Atlanta. Atlanta buy him out without even letting him put on the uniform. Okay, now I'm going to the Rockets. The Rockets, championship caliber team, say we can work it out. No, you can't. They trade him to the Bulls. The Bulls are going to move on. So 2 teams got nothing to do. 2 teams that have championship considerations. 4 teams said, nah, we good, Carmelo. But somebody's going to convince themselves. Melo still got it. That Melo, 15, when he was in Denver and when he first got to New York, oh, that guy's still in there somewhere. And somebody's going to sign him, and somebody's going to be very disappointed.
I will be surprised if somebody signs him. I feel like the game has passed Carmelo by because he's the classic ISO, high dribble, low post ball stopper. And you just got to keep feeding him the ball and watching him try to score ISO, right? It doesn't work anymore. And I'm just afraid he wouldn't stay in great shape while he's been off. And so would LeBron want his brother on the team? Sure he would, but it's just like CP3 wanted his brother on the team, and how much did it help the team?
Exactly.
None.
And LeBron wanted his brother too with D-Wade.
Yeah.
But when the rubber needed to meet the road, what'd he do? D-Wade
hit
gone
the
back
road.
to Miami. Go on. Yeah, he hit the road 86.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Join us again at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.